hungry?
Not overly, but like, is that beef?
Yeah, it's beef.
I do like beef.
Yeah, it's beef.
I do like beef.
You could also watch all of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies for me. I'm trying to understand sort of who I am. I feel like I'm walking around with a mask.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Also, if you don't, I'll eat you.
That also makes sense. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, spelled wrong because typewriters didn't have spell check and this movie didn't have an able-to-buy-a-dictionary budget, opens with some real paranormal activity vibes. That is, there's text and voiceover that's like, no, this really happened.
The film which you are about to see is an account of the tragedy which befell a group of 5 youths.
Why won't anybody believe me?
The voiceover is like, this was a horrible massacre that really happened to 5 people, but especially to 2 of them.
Sally Hardesty and her invalid brother, Franklin.
Which means main characters?
The other 3, I mean, it's sad, but not as sad as what happened to Sally and her
Invalid brother, Franklin.
How's it going, brother? Oh, and also,
It is all the more tragic in that they were young.
like the hierarchy goes old, young, and then hot at the top. Like nothing sadder than hot people dying, which is why young and hot Sally is the saddest thing. If 5 old people were chainsawed to death, everybody would mostly be like, well, did they happen to leave me any inheritance? And the cops would be like, I mean, are you related to them? And everybody would be like, no, but it's worth a shot. And the cops would be like, oh, I hear that. And everybody would fist bump.
You are old, and you deserve less because of your age.
You laugh at an old man.
But that's not what happened here in the most bizarre crime in America's history.
Annals
Butthole.
of American history.
Being massacred is sad. Full stop. You don't have to qualify. Yeah. He's like, no, but this one even more sad.
It is all the more tragic in that they were
Sexy.
All right, so it's August 18th, 1973. A mere 5 days before the normal strong robbery, famous for the origin of the term Stockholm Syndrome, which is the only reason that none of the characters will later fall in love with Leatherface because they didn't have a name for their feelings. And anyway, we hear a bunch of grunting, digging noises.
God, it's all toilet sounds.
But see occasional nasty flashes. Like that time I tried to take a nap in a hammock while Dave did some gardening. You're waking the neighbors! Shut up! The radio informs us that somebody's been robbing graves because they're presumably not related to any dead old people. Somebody's also making dead body art.
Officers there discovered what appeared to be a grisly work of art.
And it's like, ugh, if Michelangelo does it, it's high art. But when Dave does it, it's a despicable crime. And he's forced to leave Texas to work on a random YouTube channel. Ugh, everyone's a critic / FBI agent these days. The news goes on to describe storage unit explosions, cholera outbreaks, weird sports fan suicides, and on and on and on. This was a real bad day in America's
annals.
Butthole.
Chainsaw massacres or not. But it was probably just like a normal, boring day in Tampa Bay, which is why these are not called the Florida Chainsaw Massacre movies, because that would be like the 3rd most interesting thing happening that day. Elsewhere, some dude gets out of a van and helps a guy in a wheelchair also get out of the van so he could piss in a can. Except we almost get to Texas vehicular manslaughter when a truck whizzes by, pun intended, too close to the van, and the wheelchair guy goes flying down the hill, but I don't think it's really the truck's fault. Like, maybe it just scared old Franklin and he lost his grip on his slippery dick and slipperier wheels. Maybe it's because
Saturn's in retrograde.
I mean, last time Saturn was in retrograde, Dave put his whole head through a urinal. It was a mess.
I saw it myself.
I personally do not recommend it.
And now we're all back in the van. There's Sally, her slippery brother Franklin, Jerry, Pam, and Kirk, and they're all headed to a grave to see if Sally and Franklin's grandfather was one of the bodies dug up by the grave robbers.
My granddaddy's buried here.
Not sure what they're gonna do if Grandpa has been transformed into Michelangelo's David, but like old and dead, but this is 1973. What else are you gonna do on a lazy August afternoon? Literally nothing fun has been invented yet. Turns out that Grandpa's fine and they run into a drunk man sitting in a tire, so it's all in all a pretty great afternoon so far. Talking to drunk men in tires was the PS5 of the 1970s. He's just like sitting in a tire.
I see things.
It's compressing my burp muscles. They hop back in the van, but things get stinky.
What smells?
Sorry.
And I know we all want to blame Slippery Franklin, but it's actually because they're passing a slaughter field. And there's a bunch of cows shitting and getting beaten to death with sledgehammers, as Franklin explains.
Start squealing and freaking out and everything, then have to come up and bash him 2 or 3 times.
That's a weird thing to know a lot about.
Apparently, their family has a history of cow killing.
That's where Grandpa used to sell his cattle.
Then Franklin explains how he does sex.
It's just boom, goes boom, and then
I was curious.
oh man, it's hot, babe.
And because again, there's literally, again, nothing fun to do, they pick up a
Hitchhiker.
which was like the PS5 Slim Digital of the 1970s, despite.
Oh, he's weird looking.
But that's not really fair to say because he's also extremely weird being and probably smelling,
The son of a bitch is gonna smell just like the slaughterhouse.
which is why he's standing next to an odor-bearing slaughter field.
That boy ain't right.
No. The cutting himself in the hand with a knife, that's not the weird part. What's weird is that he took Franklin's knife to do it when.
I have this knife.
Well, then just use that knife, goober. Whoa, I just got major deja vu. Dave, do you remember your first murder when you got so nervous? You were like, asked to borrow my butter knife. And I'm like, Dave, there's already a knife in the body. Just pull that out and use it again. You were so flustered. It was so adorable.
I want to know why you were there with a butter knife.
I was making toast. Then the hitchhiker asked to be taken to his house.
I live right off this road.
And tries to sell a picture of the 5 sad friends he just took.
Didn't turn out so good.
You can pay me now.
That is what you call the out of the deal.
And then he cuts Franklin. And it's like, Jesus, hitchhikers these days, man. No sense of decorum. They throw him out of the van and stop at a gas station that sucks at like the one thing it's supposed to not suck at.
I got no gas.
That's like Arby's having no perverts hiding in the bathroom.
Arby's, we have the pervert.
Great, well, what do you know about
The old Franklin place?
that confusingly Franklin's father owns?
The old Franklin place?
Is his dad named Franklin?
Do the Mario.
Or maybe his dad is named Franklin and this guy is actually just Junior? Like, he's asking about the Franklin place, but his name is Franklin.
Well, that's my name.
His name is Franklin Hardesty, so is his dad Hardesty Franklin? Like, I don't know. Maybe his name is Franklin the third or the fourth?
Hey, it's Franklin.
Oh my God, the mysteries are just piling up. Anyway, the no gas station man is like,
You boys don't want to go mess around the old house?
you should stay here and eat barbecue made out of
Arby's,
Human meat.
until my gas guy shows up. Gratuitous butt shot. Buy a Coke. It tastes like ass, but in a good way. Just like human butt barbecue, probably. I could not confirm if human barbecue is good or not. Dave has only ever had it raw, so not barbecue, just raw human ass meat.
Ass tartar.
You realize you're talking to a fish, right?
Ass nigiri.
It does look like ass nigiri on this table right now.
No.
But they're like, nah, we're gonna go to the old Franklin place because Franklin here claims there's a creek.
There's a creek.
You can swim in.
You can go swimming.
And spoiler alert, not only does nobody ever swim, I don't think we ever even see any standing water.
There's not going to be a swimming hole, you stupid slut.
Maybe he meant he was gonna create a man-made creek with his spit? The house itself looks rough, and it is very wheelchair inaccessible. But the girls seem to be having the time of their lives. Like, it's apparently goddamn Disney World up there. Franklin, however, acts more like he's at Knott's Berry Farm.
If I have any more fun today, I don't think I'm gonna be able to take it.
Which I Googled worst theme parks, and that's what popped up. So that's where that joke came from. Kirk and Pam leave to go not swimming in the imaginary creek.
Must be it.
Even though we all know they actually intend to go swimming in each other's groin areas. That's what people do. Their swimsuit areas are about to be petted mighty heavily. Maybe ugly people like to do that too, but I wouldn't know.
Okay, Daddy, I'm ready for the juice.
'Cause I'm hot.
Just spray me with horsey sauce, Daddy.
Instead, they stumble upon another house with whirring noises, implying that there may be gasolina that they could be bartering for, because Texas in the 1970s was indistinguishable from Mad Max. Initially, the main house looks fairly nice, give or take a loose tooth on the front porch. Like, does anybody do their job in Texas? No gas at the gas station? Hitchhikers can't take photos for shit? Texas Tooth Fairy dropping teeth all over the place. Camera guys keep forgetting to wear their pants to work. It's embarrassing.
Sorry.
Nobody appears to be home.
Anybody home?
So Kirk heads inside to get immediately beaten in the head with a cow sledgehammer.
Danger.
By a massive man wearing an insane leather mask. Pam grows tired of waiting for Kirk to be not dead.
Kirk?
So she also heads inside.
Kirk?
And soon finds herself in a freaky-ass room covered in feathers and bones and all manner of horrific shit. Although she mostly seems distressed by the chicken in a bird cage.
My life is a lot of sad chicken, too.
She's like, let him roam free!
Well, no, that's, there's the operator manual. It's a bird cage, not a chicken cage. You gotta get a coop for the chicken.
She's like, that's not code.
That's not up to code.
The f***ing teeth everywhere. Even worse, the big guy grabs her and literally throws her onto a meat hook with a front row view of Kirk getting chainsawed to pieces. A true master performs better with a special audience. Michelangelo always put people on meat hooks to watch him paint Sistine Chapels. That's a little known fact.
They're all like big dudes too, like all the angels and shit. Big fellas, big butts.
And all the people on the meat hook were like, wow, that's a big guy, Michael. Back at the house, Jerry is like, I want to go swimming now.
Can I go too?
No, Sally, you stay here. You're clearly not wearing underwear, and I'm too much of a gentleman to let you skinny dip in front of me.
All right.
So Sally stays behind with Franklin, who's apparently deeply insecure about his relationship with his sister.
Are you mad at me?
And not in the 2024 porn plot kind of way.
You really didn't want me to come, did you?
It keeps coming up. Logan likes that. I asked him to help me punch up scripts, and he's mostly like, hey, why don't we talk about how porn is in 2024? I've got a lot of thoughts about how it's evolving.
Sally?
What now?
Never mind.
He's like, I got an idea. What if you watched all 2024 porn?
And there's a lot of it.
Yeah. You gotta get started right now. Jerry also arrives at the house and worries that Pam and Kirk might be goofing on him. So he heads inside to put an end to all the goofing, except, oh God, he finds Pam in a friendship fridge. And he's also killed with a hammer. Which is the ultimate goof. Well, not the ultimate goof. That was when Goofy's wife was killed with a hammer. Anyway, at the sibling van, they honk the horn and yell at each other. Jay! Hey! Before eventually heading off into the woods to look for their surely pruny-ass friends. Like, you can only swim for so long before you start to look like one of those California raisins from hell. But wait.
Sally, I hear something. Stop.
Franklin gets chainsawed to death. While Sally heroically takes off into the woods, which is a terrible idea because that's a chainsaw's natural hunting ground. Eventually, Sally ends up in the slightly nicer but more full of hammers house and stumbles upon what appears to be a couple of dead people. But they're old, so she's not sad about it.
Ooh, this place has got old man stink.
She jumps out of second-story windows, slams into a branch, and eventually ends up back at the useless gas station. She really doesn't want to get chainsawed, I guess. I mean, she's going hard in the paint. Fortunately, the gas station owner is there.
Whoa there! Whoa! Whoa!
But unfortunately, he attacks her with a broom and ties her up. Outside of a Jackie Chan movie, I don't think I've ever seen anybody KO'd with a broom before. But also, she's had a rough night. She honestly might have just been so tired she was falling asleep mid-fight anyway. He's like, I'm falling asleep, and he's like, ah! Hits her with a broom. She's like, you're actually making it harder to fall asleep. Ah! He hucks her in his truck, but doesn't leave until he's turned off the lights.
Cost electricity is enough to drive a man out of business.
I actually think that maybe not having gas and selling barbecue made of human meat are probably more directly affecting your bottom line.
Niche market. And this is before the internet. No search engine optimization.
Nowadays, if I want some human meat, I just hop on Yelp and I go best human meat in my area. Anyway, he drives to the same house and oh hey, the hitchhiker is there and turns out that he's the grave robber from the intro.
I told you to stay away from that graveyard.
And also the brother of hulking Leatherface Man.
Whole family of
John C.
A true Renaissance man. The Da Vinci of piss-smelling Texans.
Hey, howdy, y'all!
There, I guess, Dad is like, I can't believe you left Leatherface alone. You know he has a tendency to massacre a gaggle of teens. And more importantly, sometimes he chainsaws our front door when he gets bored.
Look what your brother did to that door!
This is 1973. There's literally nothing else to do. Tetris is still 11 years away. You don't leave Leatherface alone. He will chainsaw the door and murder a whole gaggle of teens. Which is sad because they're young, and some are even hot. But whatever. They bring Sally inside, and the big dude is in a wig now, and it turns out, like in several of Dave's shockingly successful legal defenses, the old man from upstairs isn't technically dead.
There's a big difference between mostly dead and all dead.
He's got enough life in him to suck Sally's bloody finger.
Sucker-free Sundays!
And to be fair, that's a thing that's been known to put some life back into a man. But even still, I want to reiterate that if he was massacred by a chainsaw, nobody would be saying how sad it was. He's just there to show the contrast.
I'm 37, I'm not old.
It seems pretty clear that they're gonna kill and eat her, hopefully in that order, but they take their sweet time and good God, the camera work is insane. It's super impressive, but it is extremely nauseating and unsettling.
There's nothing funny about these sounds.
It makes me never want to get captured by cannibals.
You think this is a party?
If this scene had been filmed like a Marvel movie, then I might be into it, but this presentation has completely turned me off to the idea.
Just some things you gotta do. Don't mean you have to like it.
They just don't make being eaten by cannibals look fun.
They accomplish their goal, I guess.
I hate these woke movies that try and tell me that eating human meat is bad.
I just can't take no pleasure in killing.
They want to give the borderline corpse of Grandpa here a chance to kill Sally with a hammer because he used to be the best at killing things with hammers.
He's the best!
And they want him to relive his glory days.
Grandpa's the best killer there ever was.
It's like when they give a retired pilot one last plane ride, or how I plan to one day squeeze Dave into his clown bikini so he can stalk one last victim in Central Park. But clearly Grandpa's best days are behind him because my man is struggling with that hammer.
The hammer is my penis.
He looks like your average American presidential candidate during a debate out there, just got a hammer trying to kill people in the crowd, but he can't do it.
Miss.
It takes so long that Sally actually manages to break free and jump out yet another window.
We're breaking free!
That is why you don't play with your food. They're now down 2 windows and a front door. That's gonna be tough to fix considering their main business has no gas and their secondary business has little to no market. Like, what is a normal American family struggling to pay their bills and eat people supposed to do? In this economy?
The impossible meat will make a human meat analog.
Well, it says it illegal, I guess. It's made out of beans, but why make it taste like human meat? And how do you know? The 2 brothers chase Sally down, but the younger one gets obliterated by a truck, moving at an extremely slow but affordable speed. Like, this movie was made for $140,000. They're not hiring any stunt people to get love tapped by a truck going any faster than an armadillo. And now Leatherface chases Sally and the truck driver, but the truck driver pops him in the noggin with an expertly thrown wrench.
What?
Which drops the chainsaw onto Leatherface's leg for a second, which buys Sally enough time to flag down a pickup truck and jump in the back seat. Fully escapes and is thrilled, just giggling like a goon back there.
Calm down.
Leatherface is left pissed and swinging his chainsaw around. Hey, where's the truck driver? He's still just booking it towards the nearest Arby's? I cannot imagine a worse fate for him. Should've gotten on! Damn it!
My name is Jerry Face, and I am a proud cannibal American. For years, my family and I have worked to remove the stigmas so often found against cannibal Americans in America today. My job is to make sure that we remain anonymous online so that we can continue our work unhindered and safely. And it's why I'm such a big fan of Aura. They have generously agreed to sponsor this video about how actually it's okay to be a cannibal and everybody should try it at least once before judging. Because look, some 2.9 billion records were recently stolen from national public data, and that could affect almost every single American, including cannibal Americans. And Aura has made it so easy to find and recover and protect all of that extremely sensitive data. I found out that you can sign up today at aura.com/breeding for a completely free 14-day trial, which is more than enough time for Aura to at least check to see if your data has been compromised, somewhere as malicious as the dark web or somewhere as benign but annoying as advertisers. I am so tired of advertisements about the best cooking technique or new blades. I know what I like, and I'm just trying to scroll Instagram to look for... And what's great is even if you don't want Aura's VPN to remain anonymous online, or you don't feel the need to have a password manager, and you don't see a reason to have free credit score reports all the time, and you like getting a bunch of spam in your inbox or whatever, it's so easy to cancel at any time. And I'll admit, I sort of hate the fact that every single sign up at aura.com/breeding dramatically helps Dr. Jordan Breeding feed his kids and helps pay for his wife's medical follow-ups after her big surgery last year. Because Dr. Jordan Breeding, to be clear, has been doing a lot to make us cannibal Americans look bad. But he's not wrong about Aura, and I'm hoping that by me sharing this with you, you can begin to see that not all cannibal Americans are bad. But regardless of whether you sign up for Aura at aura.com/breeding, I want everyone who watches this video to take an opportunity to meet with a cannibal American that you know in your area and really get to know them. You might not hate what you find.
Bright lights, big titties. Strong.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, spelled correctly, also opens with some real paranormal activity vibes. But like if the ghosts were in a major rush.
On the afternoon of August 18th, 1973, Sally Hardesty Enright was fingered, boned, and for barbecue.
Or the cops, right?
Texas lawmen mounted her friends over and over again.
Because the first Paranormal Activities footage was released by the cops into theaters, right? What a weird series. Everybody was like, I think it's real. It's like, I don't think the cops are gonna release real murder footage.
So real.
They're in the evidence room, was like, we gotta monetize this. There's gotta be a way to make money.
Guys, I really think we got a hit here. I've been looking at the theatrical slate for this year. There's not a lot of competition. I think we can get in there. That's, I guess, sort of what Texas Chainsaw Massacre is sort of pretending. I think everyone is claiming that it's a dramatic recounting, but it's of a real crime. And so this is also another real crime.
Golly!
Anyway, my point is the voiceover here is twice as fast. And it hurriedly explains that after the last movie's event, Sally explained how she was attacked by cannibals and then she went catatonic and the police were never able to find Leatherface and his family.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre
never happened.
But Sally's not the only person you could ask, right? Like maybe you could ask the truck driver where he picked her up when she was running from that crazy dude with the chainsaw.
Not this time.
Or ask the other truck driving wrench guy. I mean, he had to stop running at some point.
There is no way!
Not to mention his big ass blood spattered truck is presumably still stuck on the highway somewhere.
No!
It's not like you're dealing with Kaiser Soze here.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was
retiring to the men's room so I can jerk off.
That said, there have continued to be what they claim are chainsaw serial killings.
Golly.
So, like, the massacre never ends, even 13 years later. Unlucky number. Anyway, there's some Texas boys just being Texas boys. Drinking and driving and firing a gun out the vehicle window. If ever there was a mascot for the Lone Star State. The only thing missing here is them being illiterate and getting teen pregnant. They call into a radio show hosted by Stretch here.
What kind of name is Stretch?
And shockingly, they're super annoying. And they refuse to hang up.
No way, baby.
And I guess in the 80s, it was impossible to hang up on other people. She's like, they're tying up the line.
Okay, you want to hang up now?
And apparently there's nothing that can be done.
Just hang up, okay?
No,
Being a stalker was so easy back then.
I guess I miss the old days.
No, Dave, you can't just go back in time to the 1980s. Stop asking that every time we shoot a video. I know there's lots of equipment, but that doesn't mean we can turn it into a time machine. The boys then play chicken with a farmer truck, which is a dangerous game because farmers are great at chicken. But not this one, I guess. Later that night, they called Darlin Stretch back.
Oh, not again.
Because I guess they've been driving around for literal hours and are running out of things to shoot and drink, and now they only want 2 things.
Bright lights, big titties.
Don't understand the former, but I can see the appeal of the latter.
Everybody wants this ladder.
Then, oh hey, it's the farmer truck from earlier. Hello. Is he a titty farmer? Always try to buy local. Mr. Farmer wants a rematch, I guess. And he's brought along a chainsaw. And also he is Leatherface, but with a corpse tied to the front of him. And he kills the driver boy, which inevitably results in a crash that kills the passenger boy. Now, you might think that this is the boys' fault for never hitting their brakes nor shooting more than a single bullet at their pursuers, or for, I guess, drunk driving in general, but as we'll later learn, the only thing that can stop a bad guy with a chainsaw is a good guy with 3 chainsaws. And don't worry, this is way stupider and less fun than that sounds.
Like dead air.
But that's what you get when you let the National Chainsaw Association punch up your script. They were always bound to be too biased. Anyway, cops inspect the wreckage, and the one with the biggest hat is being told to leave well enough alone, but he refuses because he's the uncle of Sally and Franklin, and he's still trying to find their chainsaw.
Brazos.
Also, he has the biggest hat, so by Texas law, he's in charge.
Brazos.
Dave, what does Brazos mean in Texas?
Is that a river?
For this episode, we're gonna play up your Texasness over your Italianness, because those are the 2 things I know about you. I know those 2 wolves are always raging inside you, but today we're gonna let the one that's more hungry for human barbecue ass meat have the upper hand, okay?
It was like this. So I killed him.
Somehow this cop named Lefty convinces this other cop named Nothing to plant a story in the paper about how I guess they're looking for a crazy chainsaw dude in the hopes that that story will bring forth some witnesses or something. Because you know how it is. You witness an unspeakably brutal murder with a chainsaw and you want to tell the cops.
Hang up, hang up, hang up, hang up, hang up, hang up.
But you gotta go pick up the dry cleaning, and you gotta go shoot some guns out of your car, and the time just gets away from you. So you forget until you read the paper where the cops remind you to report the crime.
I'm a witness.
Happens all the time.
Yep.
I don't know, it's been 14 years. I don't think Lefty's a very good cop despite the size of his hat.
You're just a joke in this morning's paper.
That said, though Lefty lives in an absolutely raucous apartment complex, his little story has attracted the attention of Stretch, who, by the way, recorded that entire murder phone call that she got last night.
We gotta record all the call-ins.
Only problem is Lefty doesn't appear to care or believe her, maybe?
Time for you to go home.
He doesn't even listen to the tape, though, to be fair. I don't remember either of the boys yelling, "Oh God, it's Leatherface Sawyer who lives at 437 Mayberry Street attacking me." No, Mayberry specifically, not Maple. That's Leatherface Saunders. That guy's cool. He would never chainsaw us to death. It's the other one on the other street. He's bad. Anyway, avenge us! I don't think that's what they said. So it's hard to know what actual use the recording would have other than confirming that the boys both sucked ass and were murdered by a chainsaw. Which I guess at least suggests that Lefty's on the right trail, but whatever, Lefty kicks Stretch out because he doesn't want to hear that shit. Although on the other hand, ignoring potentially vital evidence, very cop thing to do. Excellent job with the research, National Chainsaw Association.
Cool, their country is broken.
Later, Stretch and her producer, LG, attend a chili cook-off that's won by old human meat barbecue daddy himself.
Don't skimp on the meat.
You know, these movies do have an interesting underlying theme about just how damn delicious
human meat
is.
This town loves prime meat.
It's like, do you want me to try it? Because I'll throw Dave's ass on the grill right now. Hell, I'll feed him dog meat first to make kind of a questionable meat turducken. Just say the word, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
And the word is Brazos.
Now in both movies, people eat human meat and either don't notice that it's different or think it's award-winning.
So there's the big story.
Not only is it good, it's better.
In chili.
Can't wait for the chef's table episode.
It's
They're like all making their chili and he's like cutting his fingers off into the chili. Anyway, Lefty heads to a literal chainsaw store that apparently only has like an inventory of 15 random chainsaws and nothing else.
What else do you need?
Which feels like it couldn't possibly be a sustainable business, except, oh, actually they have like 7 bags of chips for sale. Wait, what if those 15 people wanted those chips? They could just buy the chainsaws and cut the chips into smaller portions. Oh my God, it's the perfect store. 15 chainsaws and 7 chips is probably the name of it.
You know what you're getting.
Welcome to Chips and Chainsaws. Do you want chips or chainsaws?
I'm overwhelmed.
Anyway, Lefty walks in, plops down like $1,000 in cash, and grabs 3 chainsaws without ever saying a single word.
What can I do you for?
Then he hacks at some wood outside the store with the most insane possible chainsawing technique to the utter pants-soaking ecstasy of the store owner.
Oh, my banana.
Considering Lefty is played by Dennis Hopper, it kind of feels like this might have just been a thing that he was doing and somebody was like, maybe we should film this. And then they're like, this is pretty good. Let's just add it to the movie.
Daddy, chill.
But if this movie is supposed to be a satire or something, I'll be damned if I know what it is. Chili cooks? Lumberjacks? It's like a vicious takedown of Paul Bunyan and his f***ing cow or something?
Oh, for crying out loud.
They're like, his cow could suck, dude. It didn't taste nearly as good as a human would. Whose chainsaw technique was lame.
Okay, Paul Bunyan used an axe, dude.
That's what they're making fun of then.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, they're like, Paul Bunyan couldn't cut down like me with my 3 chainsaws.
Political hit ad against Paul Bunyan.
His cow.
His woke little cow.
He's right, babe. Keep your mouth shut.
I don't know, but Lefty heads to Stretch's radio station to say, sorry, never mind. I actually request that you play the murder tape on the radio.
Oh, you want to hear it now?
Because radios do requests, you see, and they have to honor those requests, like a mob boss on the day of his daughter's wedding. He's just asking because he wants to see what happens.
Why?
You know, I just do things.
Now, that might sound insane, but you know how it is. You witness an unspeakably brutal chainsaw murder, and you want to tell the cops, but then you have to pick up the dry cleaning and shoot guns out of your car, and the time just gets away from you, so you forget until you listen to the radio, where drunk, screaming high schoolers remind you to report a crime. It happens all the time. This is Texas. Yep. So of course, she's like, sounds good. I've always wanted to do something important with my life, like broadcast snuff tapes out to a bunch of unsuspecting listeners.
You bend the rules, I don't know.
KYLL always plays the hits. And obviously, she's gonna get in trouble for playing a bunch of murder stuff, but those kids were also swearing up a storm. FCC is gonna chainsaw her ass raw.
Party time.
But of course, the fine young cannibals are huge music fans. So a previously unshown brother, Chop Top, shows up late that night and is like, man, I love music and radio DJs who bring me all the hits.
Music is my life.
And he demands a tour of the station.
Tour?
Leatherface is also there and explodes out of a back room with an apparent instant start chainsaw. They both attack Stretch. But to be fair, her studio tour was incredibly lame.
Here's Typewriter, Rubberman, Armadillo, Mr. Shark. And there's the exit sign.
I mean, Dave has done much worse to tour guides that he deems subpar. Stretch manages to hole up in a back room, and LG comes back from somewhere and is not excited about what he's seeing.
What the sh**?
So they beat him to death with a hammer while saying the most inane catchphrases like,
time for incoming mail!
And also,
incoming mail!
Yeah, that catchphrase was so good, they used it twice. I guess maybe it's a reference to like military stuff because this guy has a plate in his head from Vietnam, which is, I guess, why he wasn't in the last movie, and also why he talks about Vietnam basically all the time.
Non-flashback! Non-flashback!
What was that about Vietnam? And side note, after the last 2 years of watching horror movies like this, I am so tired of crazy people laughing. Like, I get that laughing can be creepy, but good grief, it's also annoying as shit. Look, every movie now basically has children singing, weirdos laughing, and or, I guess, a big-ass dude lumbering around an emotionless mess. But can we come up with like a fourth scary thing? Give me your best scary thing that more movies need to do in the comments, and I'll forward it to all the directors in the world.
Dear Jews.
Thanks, I really appreciate it. Just tired of crazy people laughing. I don't like it. Eventually, Leatherface slams through the wall into the room, Stretches in, and she makes, like, no effort to escape. Keep going. Although, to be fair, he's mostly just chainsawing a bunch of sodas because my man hates type 2 diabetes.
Look at my sexy body.
Stretch suddenly realizes, hey, wait.
Are you mad at me?
It's like, he seems upset, yes.
How mad at me are you?
Seriously?
Are you not doing this because you're flirting with me? Oh, actually, maybe you are, and my best course of action here might be to try and get sexy with you?
You're really good.
And get you to use your chainsaw for some weird, sad dry humping? I think Stretch actually might be the craziest person in this movie, but to be fair, it does kind of work for a minute. I don't know that I have a better plan, I guess.
Don't say your sexuality. My sexuality.
But then the plan doesn't work. Except actually, Leatherface does grunt lie to his brother that he killed Stretch.
You get that, bitch?
So I guess Stretch and Leatherface are married now? I think that's Texas law.
It's about family. And that's what's so powerful about it.
And maybe because of this, Stretch decides that she's got to chase down those cannibals as they leave.
I can't get away.
Because they've also grabbed LG for some Blockbuster and chili, so I guess she also wants to make sure that she can report to the cops where they've holed up. Somehow, the cannibal residence is no longer an isolated rancher, but instead like an abandoned amusement park because Texas is Gotham sometimes. And an increased budget gives you the freedom to really indulge in your worst impulses.
I killed those people.
And anyway, Lefty shows up at almost the exact same time as Stretch, and he's like, hey.
Stretch!
And she's like, oh, hey.
Lefty!
Oh, shit! And she falls into a trap door or something. You know how Disney is just full of trap doors?
I have a lost brother, dude. I don't know where he went.
Lefty tries to help her by handing her like a corpse hand. That doesn't work so good. And she slides deeper into the bowels of this silly little place.
It's like, let me lend you a hand.
Yeah, exactly.
His, like,
it's that kind of gag.
His bow tie starts spinning.
He also admits,
Damn, I used you, girl.
because I guess she was the bait to his master plan. But like, could he have come in and killed them at the radio station and or called the cops? You have the biggest hat. The cops have to listen to you. Why would he assume that there's an entire family of chainsaw cannibals? I guess he had to be sure. My man Lefty is thorough. I mean, unless it means listening to a tape that could help his case.
You're gonna get in my way.
Then he's got a lot of to do, okay?
Oh my God.
But whatever, he's focused now, and he grabs chainsaws in triplicate and charges the entrance or whatever. And again, because he's all in, he just starts chainsawing approximately 200 support beams for almost the entire rest of the movie. And while not as poetic, I feel like 3 grenades would have done the job quicker and been easier to carry. He's like, ah, chainsaw. God, there's a lot of support beams in this building. This is gonna take all night. Good thing I brought 3 chainsaws. But he also discovers Franklin's corpse.
Franklin.
How's it going, brother?
Which I don't think that makes any sense at all. Like, did they drag his body and wheelchair all the way here to this random park from wherever they were? Why? Sentimentality?
Really tied the room together.
Meanwhile, Stretch wakes up and hears the cannibals arguing and preparing LG's meat to be served to tailgaters at an upcoming football game.
Big pregame brunch tomorrow.
Now, I can't really show you much of this because it's as disgusting as Dave's cooking videos, and I already have enough trouble with YouTube censors. Please support my Patreon so I don't have to learn how to use Quarp or Flipsby or whatever stupid platform a coked up tech dude invents by the time this goes up. Anyway, Stretch makes a noise and is discovered by Leatherface, but he's like fully pissy whipped by the old ball and chainsaw at this point.
Sex or the saw?
So they dance for a bit? Okay, explain to me how anybody who was a fan of the first movie would be excited about this follow-up.
No good.
It's like old Toby essentially defined and in some ways perfected a genre and then decided 12 years later to prove to everybody that actually it was a fluke. And he's a lot more interested in just being wacky.
It's wet.
And gushy.
Just goofing. But Leatherface ties up Stretch and leaves long enough for the 70% of LG meat that's left to inexplicably wake up, free Stretch, and then die again. Convenient. I wish when I brought some ground chuck to my house, it'd randomly get up and help me out with the chores before settling back into ground chuck so then I could cook it and make a cheeseburger. Ah! Do you need to be untied? Oh!
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Elsewhere, the dad, who I think we later learn is actually just the oldest brother of these people, maybe?
Taking care of my younger brothers.
Well, he literally won't stop yelling at Crop Top.
Oh, idiot!
Who also literally won't stop yelling.
Ow!
And it's just the worst to have to sit through. That said, somewhere amidst the yelling, Crop Top does come up with an actually great idea.
Homeland! Homeland! Homeland!
I mean, that actually could be a lot of fun. Imagine a theme park where you mostly crawl through mud and get shot at by invisible enemies while being pretty sure you're on the wrong side of history, and everybody back home hates you. Oh, and maybe we could add a water slide into a fucking cesspool jungle pit.
Little bit of stinging rain.
I can practically smell Walt Disney's head unthawing. No! Now they see how fun it was. In the moment, it felt like a real tragedy, but now that we're a little removed, we're like, you guys, I kind of miss being in Vietnam.
I like the ride where you get to ride on the helicopter and commit war crimes.
That's so fun. It's smart because like, it's fun to evade gunfire from above, and it's fun to commit it. So it's like just randomly throughout the day, other people at the park will just start chain gunning the people on the ground. If you know where to look, you can actually find RPG launchers and you can shoot at the helicopter.
But you gotta know where to look. It's like the fast pass. You gotta sign up ahead of time.
Memories to last a lifetime.
Also, the dad brother's entire personality in this movie is that he's not making enough money. Still, I guess.
And we're gonna lose money on it. Never get a break.
And yet this amusement park has what appears to be a tunnel lit with 10,000 light bulbs. Like, bro, you're trying to save money, let's start there. Your electricity bill must be insane.
Thousands of dollars lost.
I thought turning the lights off was super important to you. Second idea is maybe sell a more normal meat. Although it is award-winning, so the problem is that I think human meat is very difficult to source.
It's probably easier to source than like a kangaroo.
If those are the two options, yeah, I guess human meat's better. But whatever, now Stretch is running and being chased by Leatherface, but ends up in a collapsing section because Lefty is still going ham somewhere with his chainsaws. And the other two run up and they make fun of Leatherface.
Bubba's got a girlfriend!
Before knocking Stretch out, tying her up at another dinner table just like in the first movie. But here's the thing. They've sort of transitioned from eating people because it's tasty to cooking people because they see it as a viable business plan. So the idea that they'd set up this elaborate, disgusting feast right before an upcoming tailgate or whatever, it just feels nonsensical. I just want this to make more sense. The dad brother is literally like, okay, let's hurry up this insanely involved and wasteful, disgusting feast so I can head to work.
Eat and run. There's a lot of hungry football fans to feed.
I hate this movie. And not just because as a millennial, it reminds me of how every hobby that I have had to be turned into a side hustle so I could survive. I just don't understand why it exists. Sort of like I don't understand how Grandpa is still alive at 137 canonically.
137 years old.
And how they again want him to bash her head in with a hammer, and again, he sucks ass at it.
Oh, come on, Grandpa.
Excuse me, what are you doing?
They're still like, oh yeah, he's a one-hitter. But that wasn't even true when he was a spry 123. Why would they think that's changed? Because it's so funny, and this is such a dark comedy.
Grandpa likes to go fast. He always did.
Another through line of this series is that they're really bad at picking ages for people, as we'll see later. What is time? What is age? By the way, Dave, you might think that you like meat, but you merely adopted the meat.
We was raised in meat.
Molded by it.
Eventually, Daddy Brother clobbers Stretch unconscious just before Lefty finally shows up, looking just as insane as every other character. And Daddy Brother first literally attempts to buy Lefty off with cash, but he's like,
I'm the Lord of the Harvest.
And I guess the Lord of the Harvest doesn't have a checking account, so he's not swayed by that. And then the Lord chainsaws Daddy Brother's literal ass.
Don't break my butt! He's breaking my butt!
Because according to Sid Field, the funniest movies do just the most randomest bullshit. Then he chainsaw duels Leatherface. And let me tell you, if that sounds interesting to you, then just go watch Mandy. Infinitely better movie, much larger chainsaws.
Are you serious?
Stretch is eventually cut free and she runs away, chased by Chop Top. Why does that never sound right to my mouth? For basically the rest of the movie, while Lefty stabs Leatherface in the gut and Daddy Brother pulls out a random hand grenade to just mercifully end it all for everybody.
Overkill.
Except for me, despite me putting my face so close to the screen in the hopes that it killed me somehow.
Not this time.
Also, see? The grenade. So much quicker and more convenient than chainsawing when you gotta do damage fast. And after getting caught and freed like 15 times, Stretch finds, I guess, dead Grandma? who is also inexplicably clutching a chainsaw because every family has a thing. Like my family makes babies and feeds them with Patreon subscriptions, and the Sawyers make chainsaws and feed them human meat, I think. So Stretch grabs that, tries to rev it while getting sliced over and over. Yeah, she eventually kills Chop Chop with it. And then she chainsaw dances while laughing, sort of combining Sally and Leatherface's final reactions from the last movie, because that's fun, because that's comedic. Hey, were you the guy selling chili at the tailgate last weekend?
Damn straight I was.
Well, it was really yummy. I mean, like, what's your secret?
A lot of people feel constrained because there's only 3 ingredients. I take creative liberties as to where I source those 3 ingredients from. Different geographies, different ethnic groups.
What?
What?
Junior likes them private parts.
Yet another beloved classic text voiceover opener seems to primarily explain how the second movie, it never happened. Man, I've never more wanted to live in a Texas Chainsaw world more than right now.
Sorry, little guy.
But in universe, my guess is that the last movie was just a bad chili dream. I've never had a human meat chili, but I bet the dream's not good. The shit's even worse.
Don't skimp on the meat.
In this world, Sally died in 1977, but cops did find a cannibal guy named W.E. Sawyer and killed him with gas in 1981. No, Dave, they didn't fart him to death. Such a weird thing to say. Why did you mute the camera's audio before you asked that question? Why is that the one question you were too embarrassed to have on record?
Sorry.
The whole Leatherface thing was chalked up to probably just an alternate ego of now gas W.E. However, if that's not the case, then he's probably still out there. Oh my God. Do you think that's even possible, Dave? What if Leatherface was not just the alter ego of some guy we never met? What if this entire movie doesn't even need to happen because it's based on a guy who's already dead that we never saw in the first place? Do you think that's possible?
I guess we'll find out.
What a fun setup. Okay, so this thing happened that you didn't see with this guy that you don't know, and then maybe it ended, but maybe it didn't? Anyway, I don't know why I said all that. Here's the movie. The opening credits are intercut with shots of Leatherface making a new face mask out of some girl he clobbered in the head with a hammer. Guess that mystery from the opening crawl that made no sense has been solved.
If there actually was a Leatherface, he remains at large, and the so-called Texas Chainsaw Massacre was only the beginning.
Next up, the mystery of how bad can a franchise really get?
Could be worse.
Do your thing, cuz.
Also, a girl watches him do this and runs away when Leatherface notices. And am I crazy, or are most of the murders in this franchise committed with hammers? I think the franchise could have gotten away with calling itself the Texas Hammer Massacre.
I thought so.
I don't know which is worse. I have to assume that any chainsaw stabbing injury, your body would immediately go into shock and you wouldn't feel any of it. As opposed to a hammer on like the elbow, it's like broke your arm. Like, ow, shit, dude!
I like stubbed my toe and collapsed before, so it's like, I would not do well getting hit with it.
Yeah. The Texas Hammer!
He's hitting my butt! Don't break my butt!
Whatever. Cut to Ryan and Michelle here arguing about how they're definitely gonna break up at the end of this road trip.
Welcome to the real world, Michelle.
You know, I don't think I've ever been on a road trip where I didn't break up with every single other person in the car. My parents had to legally readopt me numerous times. The cool thing about Texas is that it's apparently full of signs about how you don't mess with Texas. And also, to be clear, this is Texas, where you are. It's a road in Texas, which you don't want to mess with.
Me neither. What's the point?
Turns out the authorities have recently discovered a mass grave, which is like the worst kind of grave. My favorite is a shallow grave. What's the best kind of grave?
Gravy is the best part.
Oh man, I think I'm on a bar.
And okay, well, Stretch appears to be a reporter on the scene, so maybe in this universe she just got to live a normal life instead of having to do Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Again, I would be also way happier if I lived in a world where Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 never happened. I mean, can you imagine?
Are you mad at me?
Yes.
No.
Real quick though, are we supposed to believe that this mass grave is somehow tied to the Sawyers? Because I'm pretty sure they eat all the people they kill, and or they wear them, and or they leave them strewn about their house like old KFC buckets. Like, what would be the point of a mass grave? Is this like their version of kimchi? Ferment them in the ground for a while to really bring out the corpse's flavor?
Basically, if you're buried right, your skin turns into
Kimchi.
And also, how would they cram what the movie claims are
40 or 50 bodies
in a mass grave unnoticed?
You would know that.
Mr. Pre-Med?
To be clear, I am extremely pre-med in the sense that I haven't taken any medical classes whatsoever. So I'm pre all things med. Right at the beginning of med.
Okay.
Then they run over an armadillo and then they kill it with a rock. It was a very pre-med way to deal with injuries.
Sorry, little guy.
They arrive at a gas station and the weirdo who owns it takes photos of Michelle and tries to sell them to her because I guess that was a common way of making money in Texas once upon a time. You just take photos of people and say, you want to buy this photo? And they're like, no. And it's like, ugh, Texas is just so magical and whimsical. But just like last time, that doesn't work. So instead, he watches her take a shit through a peephole in the bathroom, which is like taking a picture in your brain. Although it doesn't seem like he can really see much from that angle. Like maybe he just likes to watch people's faces while they grunt. Whatever gets you through the workday, I guess. We all have our things. Fortunately, Aragorn is also at the gas station, and he protects Michelle's honor, buying her and Ryan time to escape before he himself appears to be shot by the angry, horned-up weirdo.
The cowboy! He shot the cowboy! What?
Phil. Seems crazy that he died this early in the film, but Aragorn would be massively out of his element in 1990s Texas. Like, he'd be out there lighting signal fires to call for aid and charging sword first into a Buc-ee's, and he'd call all the short people hobbits. He'd be asking trees how their day is going. He'd be trying to refuse the call to be king. I mean, the whole thing.
I'm just trying to get home.
Anyway, no time to worry about that as a monster truck busts out of the gas station garage in hot pursuit of our apparent protagonists. A dead coyote is hucked on their windshield, causing them to blow a tire.
What tire?
The old coyote windshield trick, a classic, and for a good reason. I mean, it works.
I'm about to lose my mind!
And while they're changing the tire, surprise! And I kind of want to see a movie where the damn thing just like won't start. Leatherface gets so embarrassed he jumps off a bridge and then they end the franchise forever. But alas! They managed to run him over a little bit. Escape but crash again when Aragorn the White somehow inexplicably appears right in the middle of the road, inexplicably not letting them pass and forcing them to swerve into the path of another dude named Benny.
You shall not pass!
Benny crashed too. Sorry, Benny. They all survive but are much worse for the wear. But fortunately, Benny here is something of a
militant lumberjack. I see him all the time.
Yeah, okay.
Like, you know, he's a survivalist militia type guy, basically, and he patches them up and flags down some help.
Looks like you had a little mishap.
But quickly realizes the help is probably not nice, considering Ryan and Michelle's truck had chainsaw scars. And this dude also has a chainsaw. In Texas? There's only like 4 people in Texas with chainsaws. This guy's bad.
What do you think all these f***ing flares are for, stupid?
Honestly, I have no idea.
So Benny runs back to his Jeep to extremely shittily and slowly load his assault rifle with like 50 bullets until the chainsaw enthusiast gets as bored watching him as me and tries to run Benny over, forcing him to fall down a hill for basically forever. Legend says he's still fallen to this day. Fallen Benny, they call him. Texasiphus, if you're fancy. I personally would have fired my gun, but I'm no militant lumberjack.
Yeah, okay.
Benny then briefly stops falling to get attacked by Leatherface, and Benny actually largely kicks his leathery ass until Leatherface pulls out the saw equivalent of a dagger. But before Leatherface can finish him off, the girl from the intro eviscerates Leatherface with a withering barb.
Hey, scumbag!
She leads him away and then she kind of circles back and she and Benny chat.
Who the hell are you?
About how these dudes caught her a week ago and she's the only one left from her group, and then they separate again, but she throws Benny Chekhov's lighter that she has apparently had this entire time, but is yet to use, considering she mentions
Even before yesterday, I had eaten a rat raw.
which does explain why the Sawyers want to eat her. I mean, she must be like the human equivalent of Kobe beef. Again, a questionable meat turducken. And also, I guess she hasn't considered setting a forest fire that might draw the attention of authorities and or burn down the cannibal house. I don't know. I guess eating raw rat makes you bad at coming up with plans. You got a lighter, do something with it. Just burn something.
What the hell's going on? What's going on?
So anyway, Benny wanders around, and also Ryan and Michelle, who are a bit doped up on Benny's special painkillers, they also wander, but it turns out the woods are full of booby traps. And Benny is good at avoiding both boobies and traps, but Ryan is not.
Come on!
Also, Leatherface kills Rat Girl, and Benny is extremely upset. I mean, look at him. Damn. Oh, Benny. Michelle ends up inside a house that I'm fairly certain is different from the first movie. And like, again, do these guys use a realtor? Like, what's their house criteria? Easy wipe linoleum, tasteful torture basement, hog processing equipment already installed in the kitchen? I don't know. But hey, here's a sweet little grass. Aw, she reminds me of my daughters. They stab Dave in the leg every time they see him because they've got good instincts for people that deserve that kind of thing. Support my Patreon so I can buy them better knives. Don't talk that. The Sawyers nail Michelle to a chair. And can I just say that just because they're cannibals, it doesn't mean they have to be so damn messy. Realistically, I feel like all this mishandling of meat would wipe this family out after just 1 or 2 flesh feasts. As far as I can tell, not a single cannibal in this series has washed their hands or sterilized their chainsaws.
When was the last time the place was really properly cleaned?
It's cleaned every Friday afternoon.
Yeah? Bullshit.
You should probably get this whole place looked over by Ghostbusters.
Every character in this series is killed by trichinosis 3 hours after the credits roll. And are they still killing people to sell their meat for profit? The FDA would be on their improperly stored and contaminated asses in a matter of weeks. Americans don't take kindly to tainted meat, especially tainted taint meat, like tainted meat from taints. There's very strict guidelines surrounding tainted taint meat in America.
We can't feed Grandpa.
There are a few more family members here, including Grandpa, who appears to have already succumbed to dirty meat diseases, and a robot-voiced Mama, who is well on her way.
You best shut up.
There's also Aragorn, who is a traitor, if that wasn't clear, and there's also the chainsaw enthusiast, but not practitioner brother. Those two Dragon Ryan, who, yay, isn't fully dead. This is still kicking. But oh no, is hung upside down on some kitchen hog processing equipment that's sending the resale value of this lovely rancher through the roof. I mean, it's already installed. Yippee-yi. Then the little girl kills Ryan with a hammer they've rigged up via a system of pulleys and ropes. It's important for kids to have training wheels when they're still learning. That's just effective parenting. Honestly, they should have done that for Grandpa too. I'm glad they learned their lesson. There's nothing sadder than watching somebody try and hammer a person in the head and not be able to do it.
Hell, she's old enough.
And okay, this movie also sucks, but at least they're not constantly screaming and giggling and shit. And they're all the scarier and more watchable for it.
Got that right, Mama.
Although, just barely, just a little barely.
I guess that's right, huh?
Oh, by the way, in the woods, the dude from the gas station, who I guess is named Alfredo, so he's doubly related to Dave.
Another Italian Texan.
Another Italian Texan.
You're just afraid of the stupid motherfucker, huh?
Anyway, he throws body parts in a swamp. Now, I assume this was because there was an alligator in there, but apparently it's just to make cannibal soup.
Is it soup yet?
I honestly, I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Maybe I had a stew going.
Benny sneaks up on Alfredo and kills him harder than Dave sneaking up on actual Alfredo at an Olive Garden.
When you're here, you're It's all so good.
Sorry, Tex, I'm making fun of your Italianness again. Please don't shoot me with one of your many guns that you have on your person at all times, right next to your barbecue sauce holster. Or maybe you have an Alfredo sauce holster, a marinara holster. Back in the kitchen where she belongs, Michelle listens to a song that Leatherface claims will totally change her life. But she's not a fan.
That was nosy, I'm sorry.
But it's okay, Leatherface. Aragorn got you one chainsaw to rule them all for no apparent reason.
9 rings were gifted to the race of men.
And chainsaws.
You like it, don't you?
Also, he has a leg brace, Leatherface does, and I guess that's a callback to him hacking up his own leg at the end of the first movie. Wow, nice continuity, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I support every possible effort in maintaining the illusion, again, that the second movie didn't happen. Why did that movie happen? I don't like that it happened. Leatherface shows off his new rig because
Junior likes them private parts.
and I guess this is his way of flirting.
We knows what to do with them parts.
Stop, Mama! And evidently, the little girl is also his kid from a previous kidnapping and flirting session. So that's fun to think about. But thankfully, like the screenwriters, we don't have to for very long because Benny shows up and fires approximately 400 rounds into the kitchen through the window. What the You'd think he'd be a little more targeted, considering he claims he was trained for this kind of thing, but I guess sometimes at the end of a long night, you just want to unwind by shooting indiscriminately into a crowd of kitchen cannibals. I get it, Benny. In the chaos, Michelle rips her nailed hands free and escapes into the woods, and Benny's right behind her, but he gets immediately run over. But actually, that's fine. And he and Aragorn get in a wrestling match that results in a punctured gas can, and Benny setting Aragorn ablaze, like, ironically, the steward of Gondor. And also a Jeep explodes, which is less like Lord of the Rings, but something that would have definitely made Lord of the Rings better if it had been in there during the Battle of Helm's Deep. Just Gandalf showing up on the third day, shooting assault rifles out of the side of his Wrangler while Zeppelin plays, and then backflipping off of it before it slams into a crowd of Uruk-hai. And it's like, oh shit, the thing's packed with magic C4, and it just explodes all the shit. And Gandalf turns to the camera and says, oh hi. You know, like Uruk-hai? That'd be sicker than the Sawyer family after eating some tainted taint meat, am I right? That'd be so tight, dude. Just look to the east on the third day. I'll be in a sick-ass Wrangler, assault rifles akimbo, magic C4. All right, well, I guess I better survive till then.
He takes a big draw after this from his big pipe and blows like the sickest.
It's like the Jeep logo.
Son of a bitch.
Michelle is chased through the woods by Leatherface, and she gets all crazy like she's gonna fight him.
Okay. All right. You and me then, huh?
But she mostly just gets boobied into the water and saved by Benny, who tackles Leatherface in that very same water before eventually getting killed by the magic chainsaw that apparently not even Cannibal Soup can turn off. It's like in the water. That's not how that works. Then Michelle beats Leatherface's head in with a rock.
Sorry.
So now it's morning, and Michelle's admiring the view, and oh God!
No! No!
Hey, it's me!
Benny! Oh, actually, it's fine. Hey, Benny. Oh, God! I guess Alfredo was in the back seat somehow.
Hey, snack time and leather.
English, motherfucker! Do you speak it?
But actually, Michelle shoots him with a shotgun. And then Benny and Michelle drive away. And oh, hey, Leatherface revs his chainsaw because virtually nobody can die in this movie, which means that Ryan might still be alive. I mean, does that mean that Michelle still wants to break up with him? I don't know. Keep watching to find out. These movies famously hold continuity from film to film. So we're definitely gonna pick up all these threads later. I'm sure of it.
Got that right.
Once you get into the deep state, that's a job for life.
Are you talking to me?
The pension system within the deep state is exceptional.
Girls have tits.
Yet another classic opening.
Regrettably.
That sort of negates the movies that came before it, except for the first one. Pretty good sign when your franchise has to reset after every single sequel. This time, no cannibals were ever caught, though there may have been 2 apparently related incidents. Stares at Dave knowingly. They're not talking about the first 2 movies. They're talking about what you were doing on Thursday.
Oh, God.
News of a bizarre chainsaw-wielding thief began to filter out of Central Texas.
Sorry.
Well, whatever. Now it's 1996, and this cast is stacked. What is this, a rom-com? Bridget Jones' Failure to Massacre? Forget just Texas Chainsaw movies. This truly is the next generation of like all film. This is the beginning of a movement. We open on Lips and Stick, but it's not good, I guess. Now we're at prom with Renee, and you can tell it's gonna be a good one because there's a guy openly pissing in the parking lot in front of God and everybody. Whoa! Which would be a crime anywhere except for Texas. And if you look at the original Don't Mess with Texas logo, you'll notice that there's an asterisk explaining that piss don't count. They're like, recycle, not piss, that's fine.
Oh my God!
There's a girl here who appears to have a bad case of the TikTok Tourette's.
She just does that to make trouble.
But the real question is...
Has anybody seen Barry?
Barry! Where's Barry?
Oh, there he is!
Barry!
Oh no, there he is. Barry. Barry's jilted lover, Heather, attempts to drive away, but Barry hops in the car and explains that he wasn't cheating. He just needs to have sex.
You can get prostate cancer.
And I mean, in my medical opinion, that seems like a fair trade. Let him not have sex and then die then?
Is that what you want?
Yes, please.
Actually, surprise, Renee and her not boyfriend, because she doesn't have sex with people and is probably riddled with leukemia as a result.
That's a lie.
Named Sean, the boy's named Sean. Apparently they were smoking pot in the back, which I assume that the prop department just got from McConaughey himself on set.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
And they're in the backseat of the car. Did I explain that clearly? Good.
Oh, right. Like you'd know.
Renee has some medical opinions of her own that she would like to now share.
You can't get cancer from not having sex.
I don't want to take the risk.
And while this debate rages, Heather inexplicably drives into the middle of the woods because she wants to test a theory.
What if we got into a wreck and we crashed into a car in front of us and we all died?
Let's test that theory.
Oh my God, it's like a whole car full of scientists. Any last thoughts before we move on?
Girls have tits.
They sure do, Dr. Barry. They sure do.
It's not like it's a big secret.
Thankfully, the driver of the other car is fine.
I'm not hurt.
Nope, maybe not.
Is he dead?
And their car is stuck, so everybody except Sean walks off to find help. This is made more difficult when Barry drops the flashlight.
Great, now we can't see John C.
But actually, it's like super bright in these woods. You'll be fine. They end up at some random insurance trailer or something and find a hot insurance agent inside who has fake boobs.
Phony is $3 bills. Changed my life, though.
And she isn't afraid to use them to fight off attackers. Did you know that the director of this movie co-wrote the first one? What am I saying? It's obvious.
He's never had a heart on in his life.
Obviously, it's the same guy.
There's no place to turn around. There's never any place to turn around. This sucks.
He's like, I finally don't have to co-write, which means I can put all of my thoughts on sex and boobs into it. My other co-writer kept being like, I don't know why you would mention that people have fake breasts. What else would I even want to know about these characters? Well, nobody can stop me now.
What's the matter? Afraid somebody might find out you have tits?
Back at the crash site, a tow truck full of Macan, who was called by the insurance lady presumably, shows up, and it turns out that his leg is sort of like Leatherface's from the last movie, or just like the last movie in general, except his brace is like steam powered or something. And he checks on the collapsed guy and determines that he's dead.
But he was just talking, like talking in his sleep. He's dead now.
Sean seems scared, but Macan assures him,
It ain't no biggie.
and if it feels like I'm using a lot of direct quotes from the movie this time, it's because, again, this film is written by one of the great masters of the trade.
Hey! We see you, you old fart!
And the Oscar goes to?
Sean runs away, but is followed by Macan with surprising ease because Sean never considers maybe getting off the road and into the woods where the man with the robot leg would have to follow him on foot. So instead of losing to a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest, he's hit by the truck like 25 times, give or take.
What the hell was that?
The three high schoolers walk back to the crash site, but Barry and Heather get distracted by a truck and chase it into the dark, trying to hitch a ride, leaving Renee alone.
No.
Now, you might think that Renee is ugly because she's wearing glasses.
Guys, she's got glasses and a ponytail.
You look real pretty with your glasses off.
But
I've had PE with her. She's got a body to die for.
Really?
and also, the woman sure knows her way around a flashlight.
Is it one of those shake to charge lights?
Battery charged.
But Heather and Barry end up at a creepy house that seems pretty messy, which we've established is kind of the main tell of cannibals in this universe, but they separate, and Barry is held at gunpoint by a man named W.E.
I propose to
Which, wasn't that the name of the guy who got gassed in was the last movie, right? Off screen, he was gassed. That was the third one. Why even pretend that these movies are or are not connected if we're gonna be so lazy with the whole thing? Is W.E. stand for why even? You couldn't come up with any name besides W.E., a character that we've established is dead.
Maybe it's W.E. Jr.?
You probably didn't know that, did you?
I don't know, but Heather is attacked and grabbed by Leatherface. I will say that the thrashing in this movie is next level. Arguably the most intense throwing around I've ever seen in a film outside of Dave's trial. Possibly because this movie was made borderline illegally, given its low cost and probably zero oversight. Honestly, I'm not even sure that most of these kids are actors.
Hey, if I go in there, that's kidnapping.
But it all worked out because this movie made like 7% of its tiny budget back, but it also got horrible reviews. Anyway, Leatherface throws Heather in a meat locker. Happens. Barry actually manages to lock W.E. outside and run around the house for a bit and then take a piss, as is his right as a Texan.
Texas, our Texas.
And ogle a bathtub body, as is his right as an American. And then get killed by an apparently upset Leatherface, as is his right as a stupid, horny idiot. Then Heather is mounted on a hook. Great. Back in the woods, Renee has a future Oscar winner's meet cute with Macan.
You don't know about being scared, little girl, not yet.
I love them.
And it's like, oh my God, it's happening. Oh, are they gonna get together? Are they gonna kiss? Oh, I'm so excited. Except no, it is apparently just the reveal of multiple bodies in McConn's trunk.
I hate them.
Renee jumps out of a moving car and then gets chased through the woods by Leatherface, who couldn't possibly know where to be for this chase, but I guess he's got good instincts. And yes, this all sounds like a bad foundation for a relationship, but I just feel like these kids are gonna figure it out, you know? It's a classic how to lose a guy in 10 murders setup. She's like, I used to hate you when you were trying to chainsaw me to death, but now I see the real you.
You can't help it.
Live and learn.
Anyway, Renee ends up in the same house as everyone else and runs into a good cop before taking and firing his gun, which doesn't work. And then jumping out a window, which does work, sort of. And it turns out that Renee is insanely athletic. Heather was right about her having a great body. But would that translate to it tasting good? Like, it feels like it'd be too lean. You need a little bit of fat. Sorry, I've been watching too many of these movies. They keep making it look so appealing. But then, because she's smarter than Sean, she runs through the woods accompanied by butt metal with lyrics, which is very scary. Very next generation. W.E. grabs her, and it turns out the insurance lady is working with him too.
Where's my gun?
Is that how she paid for them howitzers?
You look real pretty with your
Big ass titties!
She and W.E. tie Renee up and throw her in the trunk of a car that insurance lady drives to go pick up pizza. And I get that every movie after the first is, I guess, a comedy, but this is just extra stupid, right? Just leave her inside. Or just get delivery from Papa John's? I mean, they've seen some shit over there. They're not gonna snitch.
I think you got something in your trunk.
That's just somebody I got tied up back there.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Snitches get stitches.
Only at Papa John's. Deal.
You know what Papa John used to do? He's like, I had 23 pizzas in a month and also 7 human bodies.
The day of reckoning will come.
He's like, Papa John's is screwed, dude. I've been eating their pizza and it's not good. And I'm like, Papa, it was never good. Papa, it's the worst.
Papa bless or Papa flex.
There's Papa.
No, Papa. I hate to see you like this, Papa. Man. Whatever, they get pizza without incident, and apparently they discover the escaped Heather on the trail on their way back. Not sure how she got off the meat hook, but I'm impressed. Her body must also be top notch. The next generation is full of ladies with just the craziest bodies.
It's true, it is my fault.
And speaking of, insurance lady tries to take Heather out with a stick.
No! Don't hit me!
That's not really her thing, so she just leaves her for somebody else to pick up. They bring Renee inside, and though I don't understand these family dynamics at all, sure feels like they're a little dysfunctional. Also, they put way too many fingers in mouths. Like, what is this, England?
Welcome to England.
Also, this movie's rickety cricket. Heather gets dragged back in and maybe eaten a little bit. She's taken so much damage. How does she keep going? She was on a meat hook. Never in the series has anybody gotten off a meat hook except for this woman. McCann bites her, but other than that, I'm actually not positive that these people are cannibals like in the past. I mean, they're eating like normie pizza and shit. Not even with like weird pineapple on top. Why would you change that element? I mean, I appreciate that this is way less gross than basically every single other movie in the franchise to date, but in what way is this a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie? Not to mention, spoiler alert, I don't think a single character is killed with a chainsaw in this movie. Leatherface has one, but he is 100% unsuccessful using it. Statistically, blunt objects still seem to be the most lethal weapon in these movies, but it's not like they could call it the Texas Blunt Massacre because that's already the title of a Cheech and Chong movie. Also, where did this mask come from if they're not skinning and eating people? And wait, if they aren't eating people, why would you put a person on a meat hook? Well, here's the reason, a complete non sequitur. Apparently, according to insurance lady, these weirdos are secretly employed by like basically the Illuminati.
You know how you always hear these stories about these people who run everything, but nobody knows who they are, right? That's who Vilmer works for.
Like they maybe killed JFK?
I mean, who do you think killed Kennedy? Government? No, it's these people.
Was he killed with a chainsaw? Am I misremembering that event?
The CIA killed him with a chainsaw.
That government stuff is bullcrap.
I don't remember that from the footage, but maybe it's been doctored. But anyway, that's why McCann's so stressed out. He's just facing a lot of job stress.
It's just this job, you know, all the stress.
And again, did Leatherface kill JFK? Don't rule it out. I mean, this is just a well-written film. They got an answer for everything.
How's that? Feel better?
Anyway, there's yet another spat. And Jenny ends up grabbing a shotgun and she threatens to fire it for like 3 or 4 minutes while McCon refuses to listen to her.
Nobody move or I'll shoot!
What are you gonna do? Shoot me?
Yeah, you get down too or I'll kill you. Yeah, I'm gonna blow your f***ing head off.
Just do it already.
Which is just bad parenting. If you say you're gonna do something, your kids need to see you actually do it. Otherwise, they won't respect you. Good parenting is just prison rules, basically.
You want my advice? Gut shooting. Poison is inside.
But also the gun wasn't loaded, or rather it was only half loaded. And I will say, McCon, he is a pretty solid crazy actor. Oh, shit.
All right.
Self-referential joke from McCon's basically only other movie at this point. All right, as they say.
Time is a flat.
Renee runs outside, steals a car, then McCon jumps on the car. Then McCon falls off the car. And then she crashes the car. We're back inside.
Welcome!
You think we have the budget to leave this house for more than 5 seconds? No, we do not. They're gonna stay inside. So Renee's back inside at a half-dead dinner table. And I will say, it sure feels like McCon is torturing her for real. Like he's spitting real shit at her. I don't think that's CG shit.
He's a psycho and he gets off.
And screaming in her ear. And just in general, he seems pretty unpleasant to be around. And that's before he sets Heather on fire and then steps on her head until it like pops. He really did that, I think. The budget was very low. They had to actually kill their actors. But fortunately, I'm not the only one who seems a little disgusted by this movie because here comes a fancy little man. Probably from the Illuminati, I guess?
This is appalling.
And he's like,
I want these people to know the meaning of horror.
And what you're doing, McCon, is not that somehow? Stop being a silly boy. And like, what about this isn't horrifying? What do you mean you want people to feel the meaning of horror? Like, what are you talking about?
Do you understand that?
I want you to chill the f*** out. Don't even mention any of that bullshit you just said to me.
The dude takes off his shirt to reveal a really up stomach, and he licks Renee a lot. Again, for real, I assume. I don't think it was like a prosthetic tongue. It's a good thing she went on to be a huge movie star because this movie is not worth whatever she was hopefully getting paid. How much you gotta pay for people to spit on you and smack you around for real and lick your whole face? I wouldn't do it for less than $40.
What's your 10-hour day rate?
I actually do a per lick rate, $200 per day.
Yeah.
$50 per lick.
Oh, $50 a lick? I would 100% do it.
You had me at
$50.
Oh, God.
But of course she escapes again, partially because she just totally girl bosses Leatherface.
You sit the f down.
Yes, queen. Go off, girl boss.
Shut up.
And also partially by jacking up McCon's robot leg with a remote. Why would you have a remote for your robot leg? Well, I'll tell you why, Dave. It's comedy. She's chased by Leatherface until she boards an old people RV.
Senior citizens, although slow and dangerous behind the wheel, can still serve a purpose.
Which almost instantly flips. And they die, but I'm not that sad because they're old.
Thank you, Mrs. Spotty.
I would be sad if Renee died because she's young. And in fact, Renee's fine and she keeps running until a literal airplane flies so low that it smacks McCon in the McCon head. And then she hops in a random limo that she sees driving by in this field. But twist, it's the Illuminati guy.
You really must accept my sincere apologies.
And he's on his way, I don't know, maybe to fake the Mars landing? Oh my God, so crazy, these twists. Anyway, he explains that Renee's horrific experience was supposed to be spiritual for her in some nebulous way, but also we don't do refunds, okay? So don't even ask. I don't get it. I don't get why they think it's a religious experience to go through a horrifying experience and they just like force people to do it in this one small town.
I suppose it's something we all live with.
Anyway, do you want to go to the police station? And while there, you get a brief cameo from OG Sally on a stretcher and a random cutback to angry dancing Leatherface. And that's it. Can't believe we've only got 5 more of these. There's so much more story left to tell. What a cliffhanger. I can't do it, man. I can't do 5 more. I can't.
How are you the expert on the dumbest shit?
I think he's gone, but I already watched all the movies, so. All right, because the last movie made less money than I made on literally a single Snapchat video back in the day when I wasn't really rewarded for that kind of thing, but I did it a lot because I was supposed to. And the powers that be decided the next movie should be a reboot.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
The reboot!
Oh, no. Not that any previous movie seemed to have anything to do with any previous movie, but this movie pretends to be the first movie, except also having almost literally nothing in common with the first movie that it's ostensibly exactly like.
The events of that day were to lead to one of the most bizarre
reboots. Also, the powers in this instance means Michael Bay.
Oh my God, you're Michael Bay!
Oh my God, I am Michael Bay.
Which also means that maybe the cars are alive and they like watching people have sex. So that's what Michael Bay's known for. Making movies where the cars are like, I'm alive, why don't you kiss each other on top of me? It's like, yes, do it, oh.
I have witnessed their capacity for f***ing.
But okay, yeah, so to that rebooted end, this movie opens with the same voiceover, but with no text.
It is all the more tragic.
Instead, opting for some grainy footage because Bay correctly predicted that in the future, kids can't read. They're dumb as shit.
In that they were young.
Except mine. They love reading, especially Slaughterhouse-5. Unfortunately, they're getting a little nihilist. They don't like war, which is good, but they also don't seem to like anything. So please, sign up for my Patreon so I can afford some actual children's books for them.
Now, go the f to sleep.
Anyway, the words begin the same, but then like a Texan boy's piss stream outside his high school prom, they begin to drift. They now claim the whole massacre thing was like 30 years ago, and there were 1,300 pieces of evidence, and this movie is for some reason a dramatic recounting of that 30-year-old massacre, I guess. But keep in mind, it's a totally different massacre than the movie that was made 30 years ago. Like, everybody has different names, several of the characters are changed, nobody appears to be a cannibal, and in general, the only direct link is a big dude who wears faces and goes on a chainsaw.
The film which you are about to see is a tragedy.
Also, in this one, he's hot. I don't know why, but Leatherface in this one is a babe. I mean, you can't tell because of the mask, but I know what's under there, and it's a babe. At least it's still technically set in Texas, though they originally tried to shoot it in California, because of course they did. They're like, does anybody know the difference anyway? Leatherface is running through the surf. Yeah, I know. Water spraying everywhere. He's in like a bikini, like a leather bikini made out of somebody's like dick. You know somebody's pitched that. At least they pitched it for Friday the 13th.
You can't bust me for that.
But we'll get to all that later. For now, let's focus on these hot but soon to be traumatized and or dead young people in a van, desperately looking for a connection to the previous movie in each other's mouths. Or butts? What's in there?
Maybe it's just more skin.
No.
They're listening to Sweet Home Alabama, because that's the closest state to Texas that has a song about it. West Virginia? Too far. California? Too liberal. Also, Boston isn't a state, they say. So those are the only options they have. So anyway.
Texas!
Also, they happen to be on their way to a Lynyrd Skynyrd concert by way of Mexico, because to be clear, this is August 18th, 1973. So, I mean, technically a year before Sweet Home Alabama was even released. That's pretty sick. They got like a bootleg studio recording or whatever. That's awesome. Sally Hardesty is now named Erin Hardesty because who's named Sally? That's a dumb name. We gotta change that. Erin's way better. Why change it? What a stupid thing to change. I love your movie. Sally? Erin. That makes more sense to me. Honestly, it's disgusting to even say. Because obviously her first name was the thing that most needed changing and fixing in this franchise.
I think you got a beautiful first name.
Interestingly, in this version, Erin looks exactly like Jessica Biel, but she's been given a bra.
You are such a perv.
So it's like one step forward, one step back. Anyway, so yeah, Erin's dating this Kemper fella who's taking a break from his recent Ozfest tour with Crossfade. And in the back, their friend Andy makes out with a woman named Pepper that they apparently picked up hitchhiking only a few hours ago.
She's only known you for 19 hours.
Which I think is sending the wrong message about hitchhikers. Very few of them look like Pepper, though granted, most are totally down for a makeout session. It's easier with them because they don't have teeth. I've never known a hitchhiker that I've made out with that also had teeth.
How are you the expert on the dumbest
I don't know, dude, it's my job. How do you look exactly like the lead singer of a post-grunge band but you're living in a film set in the early 70s? Life doesn't always make sense, dude.
It's like this is not just happy.
Also, there's a pothead named Morgan who is neither related to Aaron nor in a wheelchair. He's just the token pothead that every single horror movie was forced to DEI into the movie, from like Scream to Cabin in the Woods, give or take. Like that era. It's like 1996 to like 2012. Every movie's like, isn't it crazy if we have a pothead?
I don't remember. I'm sorry, I have bad brain cells. That's what I have to say.
Speaking of, here's his pot yada, a pot pinata.
2 pounds of pot?
Which the prop department, again, probably got from McConaughey.
Look out!
They almost run over a girl on the road, and she seems pretty out of it.
Hey, are you okay?
So they put her in the van, but she's an extremely bummer hang in that she's a little awkward in conversation.
They're all dead.
Random.
Oh, and she pulls a gun out of her crotch and bummer. Correctly, this is, of course, all blamed on the pot yada. Every time Dave smokes pot, he pulls a gun out of one of his orifices and threatens to shoot himself. But I'm like, Dave, it's the pot, it's not you. This isn't what you want. I've never seen Dave smoke pot. And I've never smoked pot, so I can't make that joke for myself, because that would be unethical.
He's a bad man.
Of course, the dead body is still in and all over the van, so they casually swing by a gas station to see if they can use their phone. So they're all getting out, stretching, and like walking over to use the restroom, like, oh, what a long road trip. And also the suicide, boo! I am achy. Ooh, do you think they have corn nuts or Dr. Pepper in there? Like, they seriously get out of it so casually. I'm like, there's a dead ass woman in your car, all over your car. And they're like, all right, who wants to get the phone? I was gonna get some Fritos.
Boy, I gotta do some yoga.
Yeah.
You want some pig?
Anyway, they asked the gas station lady to call the cops, and she does, but won't let them talk to the police. And it's like, oh, the sheriff wants you to meet him over at an abandoned mill. And they're like, well, that totally makes sense. I mean, where else would he want to meet? The gas station? That's crazy. The scene of the suicide? Stupid. The police station? Probably too far away. Those are all boring. Texas cops are cool cops. Don't you kids want to go somewhere cool?
The old Crawford Mill.
Oh, shit! Apparently, because they're like, all right, the creepy old mill it is. Everybody hop back in the van with the dead, still oozing body. Don't forget the corn nuts. Nothing makes me hungrier than a woman who's shot herself with a vagina gun.
Sorry, the what?
Anyway, the sheriff can't get there for another 2 hours because I'm sure this town of like 11 people has a lot going on today, more important than a dead woman rotting in a van. They let the body settle a little bit and go explore this cool abandoned area / 9-inch nails video with all its nailed baby dolls and possums and weird ass little kids with Texas teeth named
Teja.
And the kid claims the sheriff, like Dave when we shoot these, is too drunk to come over. But actually it's fine because he lives nearby, which is so cool. Not caring about your job and alcoholism are so cool. So Kemper and Aaron are like, okay, no problem. We'll just go to the sheriff's actually pretty cool house. I know this is the 1970s and murder hadn't been invented yet, but man, these kids are dumb as shit. Even if they didn't believe they were about to get chainsawed to death, the woman who killed herself in their van seemed to have escaped from some sort of murderers on foot. And then as they drove closer to where they currently are, she flipped out saying she didn't want to go back. And again, even if nobody's planning to kill and eat them, which they no longer do anyway, for some reason, they don't eat people. I like the idea that Michael Bay's, that part was too yucky for me. Sally? Disgusting name. Guy in a wheelchair? Nobody wants to see that shit. Eating people? Gross. Pot? Hilarious. Add that. Change some names. We're back in it. Like, Michael Bay, you've done it again!
Thank you, Michael Bay.
But anyway, all those definite criminals that are out there somewhere are gonna wanna cover up their crimes, right? Like, in the history of America, has anyone ever been told to go to the sheriff's house because he's too drunk to come help them? And then they did that thing on foot, leaving a dead body rotting away in their van? Or is that why this crime will be remembered forever?
The annals
Butthole.
of American history.
Not because of its viciousness, but because how thoroughly everybody deserved to be massacred. Even if the murderers all jumped off a cliff before they showed up, what are we expecting to get from this sheriff who's allegedly too drunk to show up? Like, what's he gonna help with? Like, is he gonna be super functional and or excited that you've come to bother him at his home? What is this setup? What a weird setup for a movie.
If the sheriff doesn't give a shit, then why should we?
That detective is the right question.
I don't know. But of course, when they get to the house, a legless dude in a wheelchair is like,
Sheriff don't live here.
Well,
But then he does let them actually use the phone to call and speak directly to the police. Now, granted, the dude does the dialing himself, so he could have called his evil cousin Leatherface. No, not the Leatherface on Maple. That dude's cool. But Aaron doesn't notice anything amiss, and it's crazy to think that the person would just always answer as if they were the police, just in case their evil legless cousin had somebody wander to his house on foot looking for the sheriff. Like, did they call, are they talking to the real cops?
Believe me, we will be there.
I don't know, but whoever this person is, they claim the sheriff will now be here in
30 minutes.
But is he drunk? Is he not drunk? Is he busy? Is he not busy? Are they not surprised that this isn't the sheriff's house, even though they were told it was? These are the chillest ass kids on the planet. That pot yada was good shit. They're like, honestly, we got nowhere to be. Nothing to do. Dead body? She's already dead. She's not getting more dead, dude.
Oh, thank God.
Except actually the sheriff's already there at the van. And spoiler alert, he's creepy and shitty and Arlie me.
That's just an educated guess.
And almost certainly a part of this whole evil family, but I honestly don't know if he's a real cop or not.
Huh. Well,
if he is the actual sheriff, then why did the phone say 20 minutes and yet he was already there by the time they made the call in the first place? Is the idea that a Texas town's entire police force is corrupt? Well, okay, fair.
Don't give me any crap, young lady.
But if so, why not show even one other cop or an accomplice of some kind? And if he's not a cop, then why do the real cops never actually respond to this phone call? One of them looks exactly like Jessica Biel. Did they not mention that to the cops? That'd make a sleepy small town cop to rush over in a hot ass second. Jessica Biel's here. Well, a lookalike. Her name's Erin, not Sally.
Damn it, I got just as much respect for a
Jessica Biel
as anybody around here.
But the legless man pretends he needs help, so he has an excuse to grab Erin's butt.
Oh yeah, Daddy!
And as a bonus, it distracts from Leatherface grabbing and taking Kemper. 2 birds, 2 cheeks, 1 hand, the perfect plan. Erin heads back to the van and she can't find Kemper.
Kemper!
But let me just say that Leatherface's murder basement is not only pretty disorganized, it desperately needs a new roof? How is the ceiling just hemorrhaging water down here when it's neither raining outside nor, I don't know, leaking upstairs? Where the hell is all this water coming from? Is this just what happens when the old dude cleans out his catheter bag?
Could you just...
It's fun to think about regardless. Hey, Kemper was going to propose to Erin. Makes sense. I mean, again, Jessica Biel-esque. You lock that down.
Let's wrap you up that platinum chain with them
Preferably before a serial killer makes a mask out of your face. She's less likely to say yes if you have no face.
Don't listen to him.
But regardless, this is the only smart decision that anybody in the series has tried to make. But his timing, not great. Hey, who taught Leatherface how to sew, by the way? He's weirdly good enough to know how to operate the machine, but also bad enough that his masks look like absolute shit. More like the Texas sewing machine massacre. Woo! Do you think he's self-taught? Is there a way to get him to maybe focus on that part of his hobby more than the pulling everybody's fingers and teeth and out part of his hobby? My mom's an incredible seamstress. She does wedding dresses and stuff, and now I'm sort of worried that she had to decide between that and doing massacres with a chainsaw in Texas, but I am thankful that she chose to sew. Okay, I have 2 competing interests. I love to sew, I love to murder, and Leatherface is the only guy who's like, those are not mutually exclusive. I can murder and then sew their skin. I literally never would have thought of that, Leatherface. That's a great idea.
He's got his little reading glasses on.
Anyway, back at the van, the cop continues to be weird and talk about feeling up dead bodies.
I used to love wrapping up these young honeys.
Yeah, I bet you did.
Yeah, it caught me a little bit of a feel.
Although Pepper is mostly upset that he's not respecting this current body.
It just seems so wrong.
Which is played for comedy, because nothing is funnier than necrophilia and desecrating bodies.
I got just as much respect for a dead body as anybody.
Get that nasty goddamn thing out of the back seat of my goddamn car.
What?
Thank you, Michael Bay.
Dave, are you sure you didn't write this? This is right up your alley. That's why many consider Dave to be the Michael Bay of YouTube comedy recap channels.
Better luck next time, buddy.
Regardless, to this point, the movie has felt pretty oppressively heavy, so I'm glad we got a little comic relief. Honestly, we had to take a 15-minute break recording this video so Dave could catch breath after laughing so hard. He was like, feeling up dead bodies. And I was like, you can't tell, but like I had to go lay down and take a brief nap because Dave could not stop giggling.
Kind of wet down there. What have you boys been doing with this dead body anyway?
Sorry.
Aaron just misses the cop, and they're like, okay, well, let's go get Kemper then.
Kemper?
So they head back towards the house, and along the way, they find, I guess, a photo of the hitchhiker girl in a jar.
The girl from our van?
It's historically too early for Leatherface to have an Etsy store, so this weirds them out. And Pepper and Morgan head back to the van, while Andy and Aaron head towards the house to, I don't know, maybe free Kemper?
Kemp!
Aaron distracts the old man.
Hi, it's me again.
Jessica Biel.
While Andy walks inside and checks the damn fridge. Look, screenwriters, directors, actors, all of Hollywood.
Dear Jews.
The person you're looking for is not hiding in the fridge. Unless it's like a walk-in fridge or something. Although yes, a good deal of the stench is maybe coming from the fridge. And maybe you'll find their head, but even then, it's almost certainly in the freezer, not sitting next to the ketchup and birthday cake leftovers. Damn it!
I don't know what I expected.
Now, if you want your characters to prioritize making a snack over finding their missing friend, then make that explicitly the case, because that's comedy gold. Whatever. Andy knocks some shit over, so Aaron runs in, and the old man calls Andy a turd, which I can't argue with. But then Leatherface appears, and Andy gets his tire iron trapped underneath the apparently 1,000-pound old man with no legs under his wheelchair. He's like, ah! But then he gets up and he gets chased through just like loads of laundry. Like, who has this many sheets? The Klan? They must be on them every single night. Oops. Andy's leg gets cut off, presumably to be given to the wheelchair guy so that they could be even, and he's carried down to the definitely moldy basement to get meat hooked. Oh my God, his back is gonna be so infected. God, these movies are like horror to germaphobes. Aaron arrives at the van yet again, but sucks at starting it.
Aaron, what's going on?
And the cop shows back up.
What's wrong with your car?
And is pissed to discover a single joint, which is actually pretty standard for American cops.
Somebody want to explain this?
They're like, dead body in the back seat? Ah, no big deal. Don't do it again. Single joint, I'm sorry. You're gonna be spending the next 20 years in the electric chair. Anyway, he makes the biggest drug offender sit on the bloody seat to reenact the suicide, because this is the 70s and forensics hasn't been invented yet, I guess. They have to actually do the whole murder again.
I don't have much of an imagination.
Morgan hates doing 70s forensics though and tries to shoot the cop, but it turns out... So he's thrown in the back of the cop car, and this is what happens when you make a pot yada, kids. It's a direct, thin blue line.
Guys, relax.
He takes Morgan to the house and to the wet basement along with all his buddies. And like, why are you just taking this whooping? You just tried to shoot the cop. At least give him like a titty twister or something. I'll just take it. He's like, I'm going to murder you. But if that doesn't work, I guess I deserve anything you have for me.
Get the hell in the house!
Fortunately for the girls, Aaron hotwires the van to life, but unfortunately the tire falls off. 70s vans were built different. Worse, even. Also, they're attacked by Leatherface, wearing, I believe, the first goateed mask in this storied series. They're innovating in such exciting ways. In the next movie, maybe we'll see Leatherface with a big handlebar mustache. Also, is it just me? Or does this Leatherface looks good, right? I know he looks good without a Leatherface, but the goatee, that aura is undeniable. I was always a sucker for post-grunge when I was a kid. Aaron runs to a trailer with a big fat mama, which is always a bad sign in horror movies and comedies.
Oh, sweet boy.
When you see a big fat mama in a horror movie, you're like, she got that way by eating things she shouldn't. Human meat, Lil Debbie.
Oh. That wasn't a good idea.
There's also a skinnier weirdo girl who has a baby, and they're like, oh, by the way, drink this tea. It's full of knockout drugs.
Here, it's just right.
And hey, did you know that Leatherface is the way he is because he got a skin disease as a kid that made his face shit? It's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I got ringworm when I wrestled in high school, and I also killed like 50 people and wore their skin as masks. Oh, and also they apparently stole a baby.
That's not your baby.
Which I did not do in high school. Please support my Patreon so I can support my non-stolen babies. From where that baby came from, I don't know exactly, but I do know they're probably raising it for its face. I mean, look how adorable it is. That'll look amazing on Leatherface's face. You know, it's like an organ donor, but like a face donor.
Of course, elegant. Should vaginatorium be capitalized?
Aaron is awakened by cop beer to the face. which is probably the best liquid from a cop you can awake to. And the gas station lady is there, and as always, it's one big weird family.
Does anybody care about me and my boy?
Yes. No.
But I'm fairly certain they don't eat anybody, so that's at least something. It's a relatively low bar to clear for most families, but also sort of is a requirement for me, personally. Like, if I'm gonna let my kids hang out with your kids, I need to know that you don't eat kids. It's just my thing. I don't know.
You best stay out there with them dogs and you learn how to play by the rules.
Leatherface takes Aaron downstairs.
Let's go down to the basement.
And then he just immediately leaves to, I don't know, trim that sweet new goatee of his. Maybe he's gonna practice sewing for 15 more minutes, or maybe he's just gonna sit in the corner and imagine what playing a video game would be like and be like, what? But that gives Aaron plenty of time to kill Andy and put him out of his misery. Except she does this by stabbing him in the stomach. Just so brutal. Like, woman, that's the worst place you could stab him, besides just like sawing off his other leg or force feeding him his own penis. Like, climb on the piano and go for the heart or something, you friggin' psycho. I can't. Whatever, he's dead. But oh look, Morgan's down here too. So they run away, and Leatherface comes back, probably wearing a new DIY apron made out of Kemper's ass cheeks, an aspirin. And oh hey, the kid tries to be helpful. Aw, you know, yeah, I think I would let my kids hang out with that kid. That's really nice of him. Pointless, but thoughtful. Like the dead pigeons Dave leaves on my doorstep every morning.
What's wrong with you people?
They escape to some other random house and each hiding closets, and I guess that's all in the hopes that Leatherface will have to give up whenever it's time for him to start a shift at the local Arby's. Is that where their beef comes from? I don't know. Regardless, I mean, hiding's not a great plan because I don't feel like this dude is exactly stretched for time, and yeah, there he is. Turns out the most lethal thing in this movie is time itself. It comes for us all. Just like a chainsaw-wielding psychopath who doesn't have to work a shift at Arby's later, maybe. It really makes you think. I mean, but thankfully Morgan attacks Leatherface before he can kill Aaron, but it doesn't really work. But is definitely a step up from just letting the older, smaller cop hand him his ass earlier. So at least he's starting to stand up for himself. Run away! Leatherface trips and cuts himself, which just underscores why you should never run with a chainsaw. Your victims have nowhere to go. There's no rush. Be safe when you murder. Sorry, those last 3 lines were just reminders for my kids. I know they sometimes watch these videos at their friends' houses. Remember to tell their parents to sign up for my Patreon. Okay, now they're in a meat factory. No, I'm not talking about my pants. And Aaron hides in some meat because there's a lot of it, and then a locker because there are several of those, and those are the 2 main things that you find in meat factories.
We have the meat.
I'm assuming your locker's in there somewhere also?
Although I guess at some point Aaron made a deal with a pig to distract Leatherface so she could hack his arm off.
That'll do, pig.
And now she runs to yet another freaking location, which is to say a road. And she's picked up by a kindly trucker fellow.
Honey, what's your name?
Jessica Biel.
But he takes her to the same damn gas station. So she flips out and he's like, but I can't take this. And I'm like, my man, that is Jessica Biel. You can take anything she throws at you.
Stop it! Get off her! Get off!
I'm okay with this.
But he heads into the station to find the entire family there, including the freaking baby. You're telling me that the cop and the mom came from the house, and the weird girl and the baby came from the trailer, and they all decided to meet down at the gas station here in the middle of the freaking night, in the middle of a downpour? Why? To what end? I mean, I get that this town kind of sucks and you've got to make your own fun, but family game night is not until next Saturday. Also, could they not have chosen a more central location? Doesn't matter. The baby is gone. Twist! And it looks like Aaron is hot wiring the truck, but twist! It's actually the cop car, and she's almost chainsawed. But twist! No, she isn't. Then we cut back to the police footage from the intro, and the cops are murdered by Leatherface, and then apparently the family ran away and was never seen again, meaning that the case, like Dave's fly,
still remains open.
Wow.
Don't do that again.
I'm so bored. Do you have anything fun to even do around here?
I have cornhole in this basement.
I just miss art.
In this town, we don't just talk about art. We make art.
You're talking about your chili again?
Yeah.
Catch who?
Gook's in the swamp.
Have you ever wondered what happened before the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Like, did they gradually work their way to it? Did Leatherface dip his toes first with a little Mexican handsaw attack? Or like, did they even have cows before the 1970s? Well, good news, yes they did.
Thank God.
Also in 1939, a chubby lady in a cow factory pooped out Leatherface and then died from the effort. Like, I feel you, lady. You ever had a beef and cheddar? Sometimes you poop some stuff out that it takes you out, dude.
Arby's.
Dave and I yesterday had Arby's, and I'll tell you what, I was on the floor, man. Just spraying out of both ends.
Boss, I need a bathroom break.
So yeah.
But because Leatherface, who was at this moment technically just Babyface, he was so ugly.
That's the ugliest thing I ever saw.
The boss he threw him in a trash can. He's like, I don't want to deal with this shit.
Get out. You belong in a garbage can.
But then a woman found Babyface and took him to the house from the last movie. There, are you satisfied? Do you feel like you get why he massacres? No? You need another 90 minutes of explanation? Well, okay then. Here it comes. So now it's 1969, and despite the nice year, I guess Leatherface is probably a little sad as he enters his 30s with no real direction in life. See, the meat plant where he works is closing just because it's, I don't know, contaminated. Like, you don't see them closing Boar's Head. Oh, shit. This just in.
I'm getting reports.
Oh, no.
And they're not even slicing human meat. Yeah, turkey killed a bunch of people.
And as a result, the town is dying as hard as everyone who sucked down that nasty beef. And my guy is having a hard time letting go.
I think he likes it here.
Maybe they could just suggest that he switch to a contractor role, which would seem mutually beneficial as they've been headed in different directions creatively. But then maybe they could cancel the contract on the very first day of that switch so that technically they don't have to literally fire him and feel no obligation to pay severance. I've heard that works. Maybe they could try that with Leatherface. Saves you some money, but it might tank the quality. Your views of meat might never recover.
You might have low views on meat.
I thought we weren't gonna bring our work home with us.
You think I'm cracked?
I don't know nothing about that.
Cracking me up.
Yeah.
When you get that oversized car the hell out of here.
Oops. Leatherface kills his boss with a hammer.
That is what you call the out of the deal.
I guess that's one advantage of not working remote.
I don't understand. You're gonna have to speak more clearly.
In his defense, that meeting really could not have been an email. I hate to harp on it, but hammers really are the stars of these movies. They are putting in so much murder work, and I think it's unfair that they're not recognized in the title. But also, yes, he sees a chainsaw lying on a table, and I guess that's the origin of him thinking that chainsaws are cool. Kind of like how I once saw a dick joke written next to the DVD sleeve of Saw 3D and was like, I'm gonna make this my whole thing now. What is that thing? Something about that just seems right to me.
Another day, another dead.
We ain't packing no more meat.
This is my job. This is my duty.
The town's one and only cop, as is stressed over and over, because I guess they watched the preview section of this video.
I'm the last bit of law enforcement that's left.
Anyway, he shows up to the house and is like, hey man, I hate to do this, but
That retarded nephew of yours killed a man.
with
A big, big hammer.
and I have to arrest him because I got the 10 Commandments breathing down my neck.
I'm gonna have to apprehend him.
And the cop from the first movie, who's not currently a cop, is like,
He ain't retarded.
and I appreciate him fighting the good fight against careless and offensive speech. Okay, well that's a little far.
I just killed the whole sheriff's department.
That is problematic for me.
And yeah, this is a terrible movie so far, but it is a terrific PSA for why you should never use the R-word slur. People will eat you is a highly persuasive argument. What if instead of canceling people, we ate them? Yeah. Way more effective. He then puts on the cop clothes and magically, pring, he's the only cop in town. He even assumes the guy's name.
Mama, I told you, Charlie's dead. It's Hoyt now.
Stop, Mama! But, I mean, that doesn't really make sense, right? Like, surely he had a boss somewhere. Are there literally no other people in this town besides the now dead supervisor, his lackey, this dead cop, and an insane cannibal family? They don't even look alike, so you can't even lean on that excuse. There's a 30-year age difference between them.
Ladies love men in
Pants.
I just don't see how you can get away with this for like 4 years since they're clearly not caught between this and the next movie. Oh no, wait. Actually, it does make sense because they decide to eat the cop.
You take this home, throw it in a pot, add some broth, a potato.
We ain't gonna go hungry tonight.
So I guess it doesn't matter if the new cop gets paid. Human meat is like so easy to get. And literally all other types of food suck comparatively because you have to pay for them. Arby's built $1 billion business with this idea.
We ain't never gonna starve again.
Baby, you got a stew going.
Look, I'm gonna be the new cop. Not gonna be a lot of money coming in because it's a fake job. I killed the guy. But I have an idea. Human meat. Free. What do you even need money for except for meat?
You come into the Shark Tank with this idea?
Yeah. I got an idea. Meat. Human. Free.
There's humans everywhere.
I'm out.
Elsewhere, a young, sexy Vietnam vet named Eric shows his girlfriend Chrissy his jungle hunting skills in a motel pool.
What are you doing?
That's how you sneak up on him.
He's metaphorically and literally going to be spending a lot of time in the bush. Chrissy's bush. I don't know if she's shaved. You don't know either?
Eric, the only thing you're gonna catch in this water is
And you call yourself a patriot.
Meanwhile, two other young, sexy veterans of nothing named Dean and Bailey don't have sex because Dean's penis is distracted thinking about Vietnam and how he's not going to go to it with his pool hunter brother because he's going to dodge the draft by running to Mexico to maybe get hacksaw attacked. And like, I get it. Talking to your brother is tough, but like, stay in the moment, my guy. And honestly, this guy should win an Oscar just for appearing disinterested with what's going on around him. Like Daniel Day-Lewis could never.
Most men are into this kind of thing.
At minimum, his penis should be nominated. Anyway. They stop at the creepy gas station and attract the attention of several scary bikers, but apparently most specifically the only girl biker. Seriously, she's the only one who follows them with her shotgun drawn, despite seeing like 30 other penis-wielding biker boys, including her boyfriend. Like, wow, I can't believe they made Texas Chainsaw woke twice. Of course, the meanest biker is a girl. That's not true to biology. There were no mean girl bikers in 1969. It's anachronistic. And Eric's not having it. So he pulls a gun and promptly slams into a cow in the road at approximately 7,000 miles per hour.
Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys.
I'll show the lady biker. Anytime a woman messes with me, I just obliterate a cow with my car and she leaves me alone.
You think I don't hear you at night, man? Cow after cow.
But somehow this heartless lady biker is undeterred, so she still walks up and is like, lol, I still want all your money.
How about we get this robbery thing out of the way, huh?
Then the newly christened not cop shows up 12 seconds later because I guess he was nearby, but doing what exactly?
One big, nasty, giant shit.
Texas is crazy. Regardless, he clearly smelled a bunch of new potential free meat. He immediately shotguns the biker lady just to assure us that this movie is still set in Texas and uppity girl biker girl bosses will get DEI'd to death.
It's a different culture.
The Texas TV cut actually just cuts to credits right here as heroic music plays.
I thought so.
Fake cop then throws her girl biker body in the front seat and Eric, Dean, and Bailey in the back. And he does not arrest Chrissy because she got whole ass thrown into the field and she could tell that this was a mean cop by the way that he murdered a woman in cold blood, so she stayed in the field. She's like, I don't think he's nice.
I'm gonna blow your f***ing head off.
Oh, I forgot to mention, before the crash, Dean did actually conjure up the cojones to tell his brother that he's been brushing up on his Spanish and not his Vietnamese, except, well, I didn't technically say anything. He just like whipped out his draft card and set it on fire in the backseat of the car until Eric yelled at him.
What the hell are you doing? I'm not going, Eric.
He's like, I'm not sure how to tell you this, so I'm just gonna set a fire in your backseat while you're driving. Very direct, very brave.
I'm not going, Eric.
But anyway, this matters because the half-burned draft card is found at the scene of the crash by Mean Cop, and he's like, I'm very upset that somebody's about to dodge this draft. And which of you is Dean? And Eric says,
I'm Dean.
And the cop says, I hate that for you. And he takes everybody to
Mama's house.
Human meat.
All right.
which is what they call the police station in Texas. But also, it's literally his mama's house. And Leatherface grabs the biker girl body, and Eric is like,
I'm gonna kill this motherfucker.
my guy, you just sat right behind him with your big, strong brother and his stacked girlfriend with the cops back turned to you for like half an hour. You could have killed him at literally any time. Do you have bone spurs in your hands? You should be dodging like your brother because, man, you must suck at war.
Oh, don't even think about it, kid.
I tried.
And now they have no chance. And indeed, the boys get strung up outside while Bailey gets sort of cleaned up by the old lady inside the house. Oh, this meat they clean. But at the factory, anything goes? To be fair, I'd clean that meat.
got to get you cleaned up.
Chrissy, for her part, hides in the wrecked Jeep and is towed by the legless man from the last movie, who currently mysteriously has legs.
Work those gams.
Truly, the mystery fans have been waiting for years for them to reveal.
How will he lose his legs?
She's taken to the very same mama's house / police station as everybody else. She also almost gets peed on by a real fickle penis.
Bastard, I know you got more in there.
And then she runs back to the road and flags down the biker girl's boyfriend, who, like the audience, doesn't seem to care about his girlfriend having completely disappeared.
The sheriff shot her.
Until Chrissy's like, no, she's at this house I was at, follow me. And that weirdly convinces him.
Show me where.
But I understand, is his girlfriend like an outside girlfriend and he doesn't want her getting used to 4 walls and a roof? Because what reason does he have to believe Chrissy? I assume the last he saw of his girlfriend, she was like, I'm gonna rob that Jeep with my shotgun, don't wait up. And now one of those girls that she was apparently gonna go rob comes out of the woods and is like, oh, she's at this house. Come follow me if you wanna save her. Obviously, I wanna save her too. The woman who, as far as you know, tried to rob me at gunpoint. She's fine. She's just at this house. Also, like, what's he doing? He's like, ugh, I hate when my girlfriend runs off with a shotgun to go rob people while I haven't finished my dinner. You know how girlfriends sometimes run off to rob? I think I'm gonna go rob those guys. Do you mind? And he's like, no, babe, of course not. Do you mind if I finish? He's like, of course I don't mind. Whatever, for the next what feels like 12 hours, the cop terrorizes the 2 strung up boys by plastic wrapping Eric's face and forcing Dean to do like 10 push-ups, but like hard push-ups, boy push-ups.
10 push-ups stand between you and freedom.
No!
He also lets it slip that he learned to eat people in the Korean War.
Rations were scarce.
And that's how he survived being a POW, but like, what's the rest of your family's excuse? What was the sales pitch to get them on board? Was that the cop meat being free literally the first time? And they're like, that makes sense. Money's been tight. But even in that scenario, aren't there like nobody in this town? It's hard to source human meat.
It's like, oh man, we've run out of flour.
Yeah.
And we're almost running out of human meat.
Rations were scarce.
Also, interestingly, that's sort of a borderline North Korea propaganda claim. Like, is he North Korean?
I don't get involved in his affairs.
I never heard that before in my life.
He leaves sad Dean in the dirt because those 10 push-ups really just took it out of him.
My money says he ain't going nowhere.
And also, it's implied that he's now paralyzed, but that's not actually the case. He's just a super weak-willed little bitch boy, apparently. Like, dude, get up, or you will literally die. But no, Eric has to free himself.
My back!
And finally utilize everything he's learned in Vietnam about stealth and hunting his enemy. But since he can't call in an airstrike or use Agent Orange, he just chucks a brick through a window.
He didn't.
It's like the craziest part of the movie. But we've like set up that he's a Vietnam vet who's been in Vietnam, a trained professional soldier. And he's like, okay, I'm free now. I gotta go save the other woman that we're with. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab a brick and throw it through the window and go, ah!
That's how you sneak up on him.
Like, my guy, you actually have tactical advantage here.
Tactical brick, dude.
Yeah, tactical brick.
Shut your mouth.
So anyway, Eric runs in, frees Bailey, grabs a knife, shoves the fat woman from the trailer from the first movie, who I guess was visiting, in front of a door to block their escape. And then Bailey steals some keys in the tow truck, but is immediately grabbed by Leatherface. Then Dean gets caught in a bear trap.
You're not even a bear.
And then Eric again utilizes everything else he's learned as a soldier to walk right up to the cop and demand he shoot him in the face.
Motherfucking trigger!
He's so bad at war. He presses his forehead to the barrel and is like, shoot me! How does that help anybody? Unless I guess you're hoping that your brain juices will dampen the shotgun blast and like save everybody's eardrums?
You're not a candy ass, are you, Sheriff?
I'm like, you could punch. I don't know, anything. Anything at all. He's like, I have no ideas, kill me. I'm embarrassed. Everybody looks to me because I'm the soldier, but I didn't learn anything over there. I at least appreciate the thought if you're just hoping to protect their eardrums, but if the cop wasn't inexplicably stingy with his shotgun shells all of a sudden, the cop could have blown your quiet brains all over the field, and then Dean and Bailey would both still be dead. Make a play for the gun, kick him in the penis, run away to fight another day, do literally anything besides try to die? No wonder we lost Vietnam. This guy was just destroying our chances.
It's a good thing you didn't go to Vietnam. Something like this might happen.
So now it's night, and Chrissy and Biker Boy finally find the house, and she's like, help my friends, and he says,
your friends.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
And like, I mean, if he kills all the cannibals, it's a win-win, but sure, that is a mean thing for him to say.
You asshole!
She's like, you jerk. You're not gonna help? It's like, well, he's gonna go in and kill everybody. I don't know what the difference is. The biker busts in and shoots the old man in the leg. And also grabs the cop and then gets chopped in half by Leatherface. One step forward, a million steps back. Eric, meanwhile, is tied down in the basement and he gets all his shit skinned off so that they can eat him later, you see, without the crust.
We were torn apart at birth. That's dramatic.
It wasn't.
Chrissy finds Dean still just chilling outside, still whining about the whole "my leg is cut in a bear trap" thing. So she runs inside to help Eric, but she can't because girls don't know anything about tools. Tools are for boys.
Like that?
For example, here's a boy using a chainsaw correctly to saw off both of the old man's legs. Because, I mean, girls wouldn't get it. You could have easily done something where, like, he's hit by a car and it, like, crushes both of his legs. He didn't even injure both legs. That's what's stupid. He injured one leg.
Even him up.
And Leatherface just is like, well, any excuse to chainsaw something. I don't care. I'm not the thinking one.
Is this? Surgery.
Then Leatherface kills Eric while Chrissy hides and curses herself for not learning how to pull out nails correctly. She's like, I can't get the nails out.
You cut it off. I can't feel it.
She then almost leaves, but here's Bailey complaining upstairs, and like, I get that you want to help her, but there is a 0% chance that you can. And if you die, the Dean will also die because he's about as frail as they come, but she tries anyway and oh, shit. Oh, and hey, Dean is caught too, I guess. And now we're at a whole new dinner scene like we've seen, I think, literally 4 times.
Welcome! Hey, man.
Oh, it's so scary and so yucky. Ew. Chrissy tries, though, an interesting new tactic.
You guys all your cousins or just the ones you find attractive?
Forget about it, cuz.
Yeah, probably. They probably also eat their cousins, but there's no follow-up. The camera, like, zooms up on her like she's got a plan, but she doesn't.
You blasphemous bitch!
It's like, wait, is she using this as like, she'll get him riled up and then they'll come close and she's got a wrist free and she can punch him? But no, she's just like, hey, you guys suck. She's just rude, apparently. Like,
Bunch of degenerates.
Yeah, get them. Call them deplorables next.
Question for you.
Can I see that recipe?
Anyway, they kill Bailey for no real reason other than their feelings being hurt and needing to take out their frustrations on someone, but also recognizing that Chrissy seems to have a higher billing on the poster, so she needs to live a little longer. No! And then Leatherface takes Chrissy downstairs, except I guess she grabbed a knife at some point. So she gets loose, jumps out a window as is tradition. And then runs to the meat factory again. And I know there may be free hamburger meat in there, but surely there are better places to hide than a place specifically designed for killing things. Dean, for his part, also wakes up and finally does something in that he beats the poop out of the sheriff. Way to remember that you're 50 years younger than this asshole. He does not, however, kill the man, because after all, he's in the next movie, the cop is. So, hey, at least when Dean inevitably dies, it'll be with a clean conscience and a smooth brain.
That was beautiful.
Leatherface shows up at the meat factory, and for some reason the shot immediately made me think of Dr. Disrespect. I don't even care about that guy. That's where my brain leapt. I don't even know. Dean seems to agree because he attacks, which allows Chrissy to get in a stab, and then Dean is instantly one-hit killed. Apparently sucking at combat runs in the family, and Chrissy sees a random-ass car outside and she hops in to escape, and that's the end of the movie. Oh, never mind. Somehow Leatherface's massive ass and massive chainsaw contorted into the back seat like Cirque du Chainsaw. So he chainsaws Chrissy to death, and then the car flies off the road and kills a random dude and a random cop from, I guess, some other town? And yet there's no investigation? I don't think you can just kill a cop with a car and they'll just drop it. Leatherface wanders off, leaving 3 bodies, 3 vehicles, and the only people that can clean up this crime scene are a newly legless old man, a cop guy who is currently unconscious, and then I guess there's like the mom?
Gotta have something to build up your strength.
And all of that presupposes that Leatherface is articulate enough to explain where this accident is, and if he has the forethought to say that they should probably hide the evidence. Like, this crime scene, somebody's gonna find it, right?
Yes. No.
Just do whatever you're gonna do.
Actually, no. A random out of nowhere voiceover claims that
From 1969 to 1973, the Hewitt family murdered 33 people.
Even though as of 2003, which is 34 years after that,
The case today still remains open.
did that change? Or did they just keep killing the cops that came to investigate? Were they like spawn camping the Texas State Police Station? And they just like keep coming in, they're like, where did my cop friend go? Like, oh, we gotta send a couple more. In the last movie, the cops investigating the crime are killed.
2 investigating officers were fatally wounded that day.
And then they ran away, I guess. But they had a great 4 years. They were just eating cop meat, pig meat.
Their killing spree is universally considered
Badass, 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 badass.
Anyway, do I care? No. Is this movie dumb? It sure is. Should we reboot the whole thing again? Why not? But also,
Again?
Do your thing, cuz.
okay, forget all that. All right. We're now right back at the first movie again. Oh God, is this my Groundhog Day? Dave, are there any groundhogs crawling up inside of my ass?
Come out!
Literally, we're watching higher contrast, more deeply saturated clips from the first movie over the opening credits. And now, this new footage is, I guess, only a few minutes after that, and a cop rushes to the murder house to arrest Leatherface and only Leatherface, as if he's the only one to blame in this entire household full of cannibals.
No one's turning a blind eye to this.
Like, I'm pretty sure Sally's gonna be pointing the finger at the whole crazy clan. Pretty sure the 135-year-old grandpa that tried and failed to brain her with the hammer is at least gonna get an attempted murder charge. Not to mention all the people who kidnapped, etc., etc. They're bad family.
We're Sawyers. Hell yeah.
Regardless, the task at hand becomes increasingly difficult as extra maybe cannibal, maybe not cannibal family members show up and run inside the house to help defend it from Johnny Law here. But even they're like, yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe we should just give up the chainsaw lunatic. I mean, I don't know that he fits.
He's simple anyway.
And the brother daddy is like, yeah, maybe you're right.
We're gonna send out Jed.
But before they could send him out there, a bunch more rednecks drive up and are like, we're gonna shoot and or hang that dude because this is Texas. Woo! Is that what they say?
That's exactly what they say.
Yee-hoo. There's some like specific because this is Texas. And firstly, news travels freaking fast in this town. Like, this cop rushed over before backup could even get there somehow. And then rednecks on both sides also somehow beat the cops' backup. Like, did they shine the white trash Thundercat signal into the air? Then whatever, the non-human meat-eating rednecks start hucking Molotov cocktails and everybody just starts blasting. Bang! The music is trying to tell me that this is some kind of sad tragedy, but they're a family of heavily armed cannibals. I'm actually not too stressed about this. We're gonna be heroes. But of course, there is now suddenly a young woman and baby added to the cannibal family, which either means that A, they were hiding upstairs during the insane psycho dinner that was happening just a couple of hours earlier, or B, this woman grabbed her baby, hopped in a car with her husband or brother, or let's be realistic, husband-brother, and went to help defend the cannibal family? Like, a baby can't even shoot a gun, dumbass. Believe me, I've caught Dave trying to teach my kids hundreds of times.
Sorry.
So she's either culpable or an idiot or both.
Hell yeah. What's it gonna be?
And anyway, she and her baby survived the shooting and the burning, only for mama to get Then he steals the baby for his wife, who's like, sick a baby. I've always wanted one of those. She's been burned. But that's fine. I bet she'll grow up to be one of the most conventionally attractive women of all time.
I got it for you, our lady.
Oh yeah, daddy!
Fast forward to some random, probably unrelated, extremely conventionally attractive woman named Heather handling the hell out of some meat. Not because she's genetically predisposed to be good at handling meat, thanks to a long line of meat handlers, but because she's got her 10,000 meat handling hours in. As hot women are wont to do, she also has a friend named Nikki, who also works at the grocery store, but she doesn't do the meat, she's a cashier. I think. They had different jobs.
Seriously? Hell yeah.
It is funny, though, to be like, let's take the hottest woman I've ever seen, have her in the back handling meat. No. You put her out front of the store, saying, uh-oh, the pies are on sale. Uh-oh. Anybody want to buy a pie?
That's why they pay you the big bucks.
I'm a thinker.
I've never been in a meat packing facility, so it could be a...
Dave, you say that literally all the time, and it's really making me start to doubt you. You're like, hey, just so you know, I've never been inside of a meat packing facility.
Don't call the cops, but...
Was your point going to be that you don't know how hot the women are in there? Dave, you know exactly how hot the women are in the meat packing facility. I don't want to hear it.
You got me.
Maybe in those meat factories, they're hiding the hottest women you've ever seen in your life. We got to get in there.
We got to get in there.
All right. Heather also has a hot punching boyfriend named Bryan. Also, there's this literally 40-year-old guy named Kenny.
There's actually a lot more to him than meets the eye.
Well, let's hope so.
I looked it up. The dude's, he was 40 at the time. Why is he here? He's apparently dating Nikki, but like, okay, this is so far the least believable thing about this series. And considering the way that the last one ended, that is saying something.
You made these incredible crepes. Amazing.
No crepe is gonna make me wanna hang out with that creep.
I don't mind driving to Texas. I hear they got great.
You gotta go with homemade pizza to get me to overcome that kind of creep factor. I mean, that's how Dave and I became friends. He puts oregano right into the dough. It is amazing. Mamma mia!
Come here, of course.
But anyway, Heather gets a letter saying her grandma has died and that she needs to sign some papers and get some inheritance, but there's only one problem.
Thought all your grandparents were dead.
So did I.
Wait, what?
Now, I would instantly throw the letter in the trash, assuming it's from a Nigerian prince, but she instead confronts her parents who are like, okay, fine, you got me.
Your mother has a defective uterus.
We stole you from a family of cannibals. Do you feel better?
There, now you know.
Happy birthday.
Sucks when you find out your parents have been lying to you.
Wow, they came clean with that surprisingly fast. I only learned about my real cannibal parents last week. All in all, still a pretty good birthday. Ate a lot of chicken wings. I hope they were chicken. But okay, so they presumably covered up their illegal murdering of the cannibal family via mob justice. But why would you not also cover up the fact that you stole a baby? Like, who told Leather Grandma? What judge wrote off on the adoption? I know that they procured said baby via vigilante murder, but finders keepers, that's the state motto, I think. I don't know. We don't really do a lot of court stuff. We mostly just burn people's houses down and shit. Her adopted parents had no problem with the homicidal arson and kidnapping, but lying to child services? That's a line they're not gonna cross. You're in Bumble, Texas, pre-computer records. Just say you had a home birth like a month ago. The cops that were there will cover it up for you. It's just such a nonsensically stupid setup. Like, how did they expect viewers not to get hung up on all this bullshit? I'm sorry, what was I saying? Anyway, so now that that's confirmed, road trip!
Ready?
Maybe let's go.
Oh, whoops. Sorry, dude.
Yeah, it's all right. Hit him, Kenny.
Damn you, Kenny. Actually, it's fine. He's fine. And I mean, he is fine.
Amen, sister.
So they let him hitch a ride because he offers them like $60 and to never button the top 15 buttons of his shirt. Speaking of, this movie is a godsend for people who mostly go to the theater to watch sexy women in bras put shirts on and pull shirts off.
No one's turning a blind eye to this. Hell yeah!
It's like Victoria, Texas's secret that all the women, they don't wear shirts so good.
Told you it was up.
Anyway, this ragtag group of kids who own the equivalent of maybe 2 full outfits between them pull up to a big gate. Then a lawyer also pulls up and is like, sick, well, this is your house, Heather, but you're not allowed to sell it. Also, the code is August 19th, aka the anniversary of the German referendum of 1934 that appointed Adolf Hitler as Führer. Yeah, I don't know if that's related, but it's very possible.
It's all described in these papers.
Also, here's a letter from your grandma.
The most important thing.
You need to read it. I cannot stress enough how much you need to read this. And Heather's like, how did you find me? And he's like,
honey, you were never lost.
Which isn't technically true because they did have to track her down, we later learned. But sure, I get what he's trying to say. I speak lawyer.
Filibuster.
No.
And again, it does seem to be that they're saying that she was legally adopted, which is extremely weird, but Texas, am I right? They're like, I found this baby. It has nothing to do with the murder of that whole family and the burning down of the thing. But also, if there's inheritance involved, it is.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's very conditional.
The legal system knows that they're related. It's very weird. Anyway, they head inside the house and it's hella nice considering the previous owner was maybe a cannibal. Finally, a classy cannibal for once. Heather wanders into the backyard to confirm this movie is set in 2012? What? You're telling me that this woman is almost 40 years old? What is she doing working the meat at a grocery store and hanging out with all these 20-somethings? Not including Kenny, who also shouldn't be there because Kenny, get the out.
Damn you, Kenny.
What? Also, like, what is her skincare regimen? I think I can guess why Leatherface is gonna target her later because he needs tips bad. But no, like the adoption thing, this is just idiotically confusing. Anyone watching this is gonna notice. Like, how can they expect viewers to just overlook this girl? Oh, sorry, what was I saying? I keep getting, just, Heather, right? Wow, I really like the character development. Oh, yeah? Anyway, the friends head to the store to buy steaks while the hitchhiker stays behind to steal all their, like, pewter plates and like he was looting a Skyrim house. Like, where do you even sell those? Who wants, like, nice pewter plates? He's just, like, candlesticks and It's like value 10. He's like, well, if you get 1,000 of them.
Over encumbered, he slowly walks out.
He's like trying to get away from Leatherface, but he's like, ah! So he starts like throwing pewter plates.
He takes damage and eats a bunch of apples.
Like, but actually, it doesn't matter because Leatherface, who was apparently locked in the basement. Although now I'm slightly worried about Leatherface because he's what, like 60 years old? Realistically, he's probably pushing 70 or 80 considering his portrayal back in 1973. And considering that his diet is just human meat. I mean, he should be crippled with gout. You know that he's not adding vegetables to the mix? Again, what is his skincare regimen? I guess it's murder. Still, these old ass people look amazing. Hey! Again, no, not you, Kenny.
The slowest chase of all time. This guy with all his plates.
Yeah, it's an 80-year-old man. And like a guy over encumbered with pewter plates. In town, a local pervert alerts the town mayor that there are some sexy women across the street.
Bert.
It's like, woo, woo! Hey, did you see it?
It's like Texas, they got the big triangle.
He's like, come and get it.
Hello, precious.
Man, that's the worst thing about living here in Virginia. Like, we don't have a local pervert to alert me when hot women are afoot. But they do.
Yeah, that's something, all right.
And the mayor walks over to try and buy the house that we literally just learned cannot be legally sold.
Learner's trust forbids you from selling it.
I'll take the whole place off your hands.
Filibuster.
And also, there's a sexy young cop.
You're asking for trouble.
And oh, hey, are you guys
down for the carnival?
No, dude, nobody's in town for your stupid carnival. Texas has a Six Flags. You could, if you want, go ahead and knock like $5 million off your budget and just cancel that set piece.
Yeah.
Oh, also, Nikki and Ryan have hooked up in the past. But that was like the past, Nikki.
Come on, you begged for it.
It's behind you, just like Ryan was, I assume. I'm just kidding. Ryan would be in the front because we're all hot people. Hot people face to face. Kenny, you probably do him with a broom.
All right, I'll meet you outside.
They head back to the mansion and are like, oh my God! Oh shit! Where the f are the pewter plates?
I am never gonna financially recover from this.
But then they're like, never mind.
That shouldn't keep you from having a good time.
Let's not call the police or look for clues to the hitchhiker's whereabouts. Let's party!
Wow, he played that smooth.
Except you, Kenny. You need to cook because you're old enough to be our collective dad. He does, but he also pretty immediately finds a secret room full of blood. And he's like, I should explore this. I'm unusually well equipped to handle whatever's been bleeding or causing blood down here, just as long as that.
It's Kenny's signature move.
Nikki tricks Ryan into having sex with her with the classic just take all your clothes off and be super hot tactic that no man can apparently fight against.
What are you doing?
This is my move. It's called the naked.
He's like, I don't want to. Duped me by just being naked.
And I am powerless against that.
That shouldn't keep you from having a good time.
Well, Heather finds her dead grandma? What? Why the hell is she still in the house? I get that old people are gross, but surely somebody could have dragged her to the cemetery in the backyard. It's not even that far. Feels like the lawyer would have mentioned the waiting corpse part. I don't know, but Leatherface comes upstairs to do a little hand cooking and he grabs Heather when she wanders in. And she wakes up in his murder basement where he saws and hooks. But also she scrambles away pretty much immediately.
What are you doing? Go! Get out
out of here! Heather hides momentarily in, I guess, Grandma's open casket, which I guess that implies that Leatherface escaped his confines while they were at the store, dug up Grandma, dragged her upstairs, staged her body, then went back downstairs to hide for multiple hours. All while also murdering the Skyrim wizard hitchhiker guy? That's a lot of work for a retirement age serial killer lunatic, though they say that you're only as old as you and terrible screenwriters feel. Thanks, Geritol. Geritol. It helps you rob graves and commit murder when you're old. You can have that one for free. Geritol. Geritol? Geritol?
What's Geritol?
I don't know. Heather is, of course, immediately found and the casket is chainsawed in glorious 3D until her traitorous friends distract the big guy. Then Nikki says,
Welcome to Texas, motherfucker!
But isn't he from Texas and she isn't? That's like me yelling, welcome to Italy at Dave before I slap him with a wet pizza crust. Also, how does she even know how to use a shotgun? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Heather slams in with the van, but then lets her boyfriend drive them out. Why can't you just stay in the driver's seat? This isn't push-ups. Women are allowed to do this. Also, she's apparently like 15 years older. Move up. See, this is what I'm talking about.
Right, go!
Kids these days expect everything to self-drive or be an app or something. But actually, it's fine. The van starts back up and they get away. It's not crazy far. Bryan looks pretty full dead, which is fine because he's a slut. But Leatherface attacks the two ladies until Heather distracts him with bigotry.
Hey, you country!
That is problematic for me.
Then she runs to the carnival so a carnival set designer guy can feed his family for another month, which, hey, why should he be the only one? Sign up for my Patreon so I can feed my family and maybe I'll put a carnival scene in my next video. Don't you want a random carnival scene for my family to feed?
Yes. No.
Heather, being an idiot, attempts to escape by hanging onto a Ferris wheel, even though wheel is in the name. It's coming right back. But actually, it's fine because Sexy Cop is there. Even though he does get a chainsaw thrown at him in stunning 3D, buying Leatherface time to escape back into the country woods. I do feel like the carnival ended up being Heather's best play, but it was poorly executed. Like, she should have diverted him to concessions, like a good funnel cake and deep-fried Twinkie would have gotten him off eating people forever, probably. He's like, this is so much better than people. So easy to get, especially when you have a chainsaw. You know how easy it is to get a funnel cake if you have a chainsaw and you're wearing another man's face? They're like, just take it.
It's not hurting your chances. Yeah. I got so many damn deep fried Oreos.
Keep making them. I'm trying. But no, you chose to ride the Ferris wheel like a child. Sexy Cop takes Heather back to the station.
You the girl that guy was chasing?
Yes, you country Who the hell else would she be? No, I'm just some girl that got way too into the carnival. Why, did something happen there?
He killed my friends, but...
They were sluts.
But no, this is the cop from the intro, who again is probably well past retirement age. I don't think this movie understands 40 years is a long time. But before he can talk to her, the mayor slams in and is like,
some crazy just tore up the carnival.
Oh God, not your carnival. Did he take the cotton candy? Chainsaw the stuffed animal prizes?
I need to know what the police are gonna do about it.
Nothing.
Hell no, that's not how we play this.
Is this the only thing your town does? It's a big deal. But the old cop is like, look, actually we sent a cop to check out this girl's wrecked vehicle and he's found nothing but blood, which actually stretches out into an impossibly thick and long trail back to this mansion. Nobody even has that much blood in their body though. Believe me, Dave has checked.
There's a blood trail on the pavement.
The mayor's like, sweet. Well, why don't you FaceTime us, officer, while you enter the house and shoot whoever's in there in the head?
You got your eagle?
You know what extended clip.
Classic micromanagement. Doesn't matter what career you're in. Can't escape it. The old cop is like, no, don't do that.
Marvin, stand down.
Because I guess he still feels pretty bad for the time that they murdered all those cannibals. But objectively, there are at least 2 possible kidnapped victims, not to mention 2 others who have been murdered. They should send backup, sure, but the situation demands action. Texas cops, am I right?
Yeah.
I really don't know why I'm supposed to think that the people trying to kill Leatherface and save innocent lives are the bad guys in every situation. But here we are. The C in ACAB can also stand for cannibals. Okay? While that's going on, Heather reads a bunch of the evidence from the original house burning crime scene and learns a lot of things, like this direct quote from Sally, which is, quote, He chainsawed my paraplegic brother. How informative and also politically correct. Dave, in contrast, calls wheelchair users cyborg Americans, even if they're not from America.
Sorry.
She, of course, realizes the rednecks killed her former family, and despite having no emotional connection to them, aside from the horror of her cousin killing her friends, she's very mad about it.
I just found out about August 19th.
Maybe now that she's become rich via family connections, she feels obligated to protect their legacy or whatever? I don't know, but she leaves so quickly, she doesn't even have time to button her shirt. Back at the house, the hero cop accidentally shoots Nikki in the head and then accidentally gets killed by Leatherface. He was actually innocent. Actually, I think, okay? He's allowed to kill and one day eat this guy because he called him a fruitcake.
What a fruitcake.
Innocent! He's innocent!
This is why I will never show this movie to my kids, because there's a lot of potty mouth scenes. You can't be calling people fruitcakes. Also, what are these four-leaf clover handcuffs about? Oh my God, is this another Leprechaun movie?
The wee people have their magical ways.
Heather calls the lawyer to be like, what the hell, dude? You didn't tell me there was a serial killer in the house basement. And he's like, you didn't ask. Classic lawyer technicality. That's how they get you. But whatever, come meet me at this random bar. She reiterates at the bar her frustration that her friends have all been murdered because he didn't say anything. He's like, okay.
Did you read Verna's letter?
He clearly states the house is yours, but also you'll be murdered by a septuagenarian cannibal if you go inside. So if anything, this is your fault. This is not on me.
Verna was very particular. I'm sure she laid it all out.
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal.
Okay, it was in the letter. I said, read the letter. You didn't read the letter. I don't see how that's my fault.
I asked you to, right?
Then the mean mayor shows up and punches the lawyer because I say screw lawyers, am I right?
Filibuster.
And Heather runs out into the street and is immediately hit by a car driven by a mayoral lackey.
I got it, Bert!
It's cool because she slashes that dude's face with a knife that I guess she grabbed at the bar.
Take it.
Why they had a knife on their table is unclear. Like maybe they ordered nice juicy steaks, or maybe they invented a new drink called the hard screwdriver, which is like a regular screwdriver, but with a knife? God, these flies are biting my tits. Unfortunately, she hitches a ride with Hot Cop, who turns out to be the mayor's evil son.
That's your
daddy! And he's instructed to take her to the local slaughterhouse to probably slaughter her. And while I don't approve, at least he's choosing the right venue for it. Like, can you imagine if he slaughtered her in a Waffle House? Actually, that'd probably work too, but honestly, I'm just not sure what the bad guy's end game is exactly. I mean, this is 2012 and this isn't exactly a ghost town anymore. They got a carnival and everything. I guess they could try and blame most of this on Leatherface if they ever catch him, but the feds are definitely gonna get involved given the high body count. Leatherface's, I mean, not Heather's. We have no idea how many people she slept with or why the feds would care about that. At the very least, Kenny's grandkids are gonna come looking for him.
You liar!
You better cover your tracks. Not sure why I'm trying to help the corrupt government officials. I guess I just think that everybody deserves a shot. Almost feels like I'm supporting the cannibals too, you tricky ass movie. Why do you want me to like cannibals so much? Anyway, Leatherface hears they're headed to the slaughterhouse, and also the old cop and lawyer realize
I know where he's headed.
So I guess that's where our film will climax. Appropriately, Hot Cop ties up Heather and accidentally rips her shirt wide open. Whoopsie! This girl cannot keep her shirt on around cops. But actually, it's for plot reasons, because Leatherface shows up to kill her, but is distracted by her ample bosoms, as one is and does. And as he goes to poke them, he notices a burn mark from the arson that's in the shape of their like family medallion or some shit. And he takes the tape off her mouth and she's like,
Hey, I just met you. This is crazy. Who did your cousin?
and he's like, what? That's wild. But before they can catch up or before she can button her shirt, he's attacked by the mayor and the other dude. And Heather escapes, but then is like, I shouldn't just leave. I feel bad for this guy who literally eats people. I feel like we're breezing past that part, but it doesn't faze her, I guess. So she runs back and very gently stabs one guy with a pitchfork. She's like, ah! And he's like, no! Very slow. And then she throws Leatherface his chainsaw.
Do your thing, cuz.
Forget about it, cuz.
So Leatherface wins. The mayor gets chewed up in a meat grinder, allowing the McRib to return for a limited time. The old cop
Can't get around the good book, Bert.
doesn't do shit. And the world's worst cousins walk home together like nothing happened. Are they gonna go eat a man steak together? I don't know, it doesn't matter. I'm sure this will all blow over. I mean, who even died? 6 people? One of whom is the literal mayor? I'm sure that the mayor's son, the cop, won't tell anybody what happened. Then the grandma reads her letter in voiceover, which, to be clear, mentions nothing about how the guy in the basement will literally murder everybody and also eats people.
He simply requires
human meat.
He eats people. This is a direct sequel. He eats people. He's a bad person.
It's true, we're friends.
He ate kids!
Well, people are complicated.
But no, it's fine. He went back in his hole to probably eat people.
Just know that these gifts come with certain burdens.
It's just such an illogical conclusion to expect us to just, oh, yes. What is he talking about? This movie's great. So when I was in the bathroom earlier, I noticed there was like a lot of holes.
It gets lonely in here. Sometimes I get hungry.
What?
Wouldn't it be nice if the food could just plop into your mouth?
You eat meat through the hole?
Glory holes get a bad rep. I just think if we looked at it differently.
I did think I actually would have wished that you were just staring at my penis while I peed.
I'll turn you into strawberry pie.
Hey Dave, you know what I think we need? Yet another origin for Leatherface. And why is he so mean? Why is that guy so upset about everything? Oh, you know, I really want to know what makes this guy tick. You know, like, did he fall into a well full of humans and that's why he eats them? Also, please, let's make sure that we keep this story within the continuity of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D universe, because that's obviously the best universe. It's in 3 dimensions in that universe. Also, if it could be produced by DirecTV, oh, that would be amazing. It's got everything going for it. All of my prayers have been answered. And now we're at Jed's birthday. Happy birthday to you. Jed is one of many random names that Leatherface has apparently had in this series, including Bubba, Jr., and Thomas Brown. Can't remember if I've said that yet, but here it goes. He's got multiple names. I don't know what his name is.
Me and Bubba, my little brother, we listen to you every night.
Bubba Sparks.
And he's offered a weird cake, but also there's a tied up dude who gets the first bite. And then Jed's mom is like, happy birthday, here's a chainsaw, inexplicably. So I guess those are the origins of that. Thanks, movie. You can stop now. I don't need it anymore. Oh, you're still gonna keep going, huh? Well, Jed here is a little unwilling to see this man sawed in half.
You let us down, Jed.
Why does he have to do chores on his birthday? Feels like he shouldn't have to massacre a man if he doesn't want to. So his mom is like, you're kind of a pussy, but it's fine. Your grandpa or whatever will hit him in the head with a hammer. I don't know if you know this, but canonically, he's the best at that. I mean, this is the only time in the entire series where he succeeded, but he's young, I guess. This is a prequel. Good to finally see him do the thing that we keep claiming that he's good at. So I've been keeping score. And if there's one more hammer death, legally this franchise will have to rename itself to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre with a huge assist from Texas Hammers.
I thought so.
Also, gotta say, pretty sales pitch, Mom.
Bad people like him, they're trying to break our family apart. But we're not gonna let that happen, right?
My birthday sucks.
At least get into the occasion. Maybe string the guy up like a piñata and let Jed try that out. I mean, you're gonna eat him anyway, so his insides are basically like candy for you friggin' goblins. She's like, just chainsaw this guy, happy birthday. And it's like, present it, you know? Like wrap him and tie him up with streamers, you know? Or like cut his head off and put a balloon in there with a smiley face on it. Just make it fun.
Why would I go anywhere near your dirty teenage birthday parties?
Now it's presumably slightly later and 1955, and a couple makes out while driving, but oops, they almost run over some kind of freaky cow pig, but oh no, it's actually a cow boy.
It's just a kid.
And the hybrid runs off and the girl decides, hey, I bet that this insane child needs my help.
Help me, please.
No, I'm not gonna wait for my boyfriend. I'm just gonna sprint into this field here. Oh, dang.
Oh, dang.
The cops show up and one of them is the girl's dad and he's very upset about the whole her getting murdered at the bottom of a whole thing.
He's there, huh?
And because this was 1955 when college cost like $4 a semester, he can't even cheer himself up by thinking that he saved money on her tuition. All in all, it's just a bad day for this guy. But the cops are like, I mean, we have no evidence. And also, she didn't listen to her boyfriend, which was a felony in 1955.
That ain't no crime I heard of.
But I feel like at minimum, there's a strong civil suit case for their farm being like ridiculously really unsafe and having murder holes in the barn, right?
Whoa. Oh my God.
But the cop is like, okay, here's the deal.
Round up all the miners. I want all of them.
I'm gonna round up all the minors in this family and throw them in the crazy house for their own protection. And the creepy mom is like, masterful gambit, sir.
You take one of mine, and I'll take all yours, Verna.
Dang it. And now it's 10 years later, and college costs like $8 a semester. The country considers rioting.
All of them.
Also, a sexy nurse shows up at the aforementioned home for crazy minors and just wants to connect with the youths, you know? Like, let's shoot the youths.
I think I can help them.
Stop being such a little
It's 1965, right? How about those Beatles? They're a little heavy for my taste, but I can see why some of you kids like them.
I reckon I might like how it sounds is all.
And the kids react to this well. And they like her, presumably, for reasons other than the fact that she appears to be basically their age and is very attractive.
You aren't gonna be trouble for me, are you?
They're like, yeah, whatever you say, lady. Thank you for coming. It's been it really sucks living in this crazy house. Thanks for gracing us with your hot presence.
Something about a girl in a nurse uniform, what she might taste like.
Well, I'm here to help you all.
Turns out her boss, Mr. Doctor, is mean to the kids and has what this kid Jackson calls
Dr. Lang's Chamber of Horrors.
The nurse is like, that doesn't sound good. Anyway, look at this big bud boy here. My God, what a specimen. Built like a tank, that one.
Bud.
Later, a glowed up mama shows up and is like, I'd like to talk to Jed, please. I've got a lawyer now.
We've been here an hour.
And he says that you have to let me. And Mr. Doctor is like, oh, oops. I forgot to tell you, we rename all of our patients.
So they can hide from their degenerate criminal families.
Okay, that's fair. Okay.
This is a psychiatric hospital in the 60s, and there are literally no rules and consequences to what we do here. So we just do all kinds of crazy stuff. Last week, I shot one of the kids. Anyway, I totally forgot which one was yours, because I renamed them.
cheerleader, so-and-so, what's your face, the ugly one.
You know them all.
I have a lot of patience.
And for me to look up his new name would require an entire other court order. Anyway, good luck. I'm gonna go shave Bud and electrocute his brain. And she's like, dang, another masterful gambit, sir.
That's bullshit.
This legal system in Texas is hard to thwart. And the mom finally realizes that maybe she's not necessarily an expert on navigating this crazy Texas law system. So instead, she sneaks into the facility and just slaps the shit out of a bunch of nurses.
Stop, Mama.
Until they throw her out.
My client was acting in self-defense here.
Take that, the law. You've got a new nemesis, Texas. It's slapping mama. But during her rampage, she managed to free all the crazy kids who used their newfound freedom to give each other blowies, murder the doc, and also kill a nurse. This is a bad place to work if you're a nurse, man. You get slapped, you get murdered, you're having to watch underage people give blowies, which is illegal. I know that because Teenage Extreme had an age check verification. Our advertisers are very strict about that. We make most of our money on ads. But actually it's fine because the crazy guy that murdered the nurse is murdered by another crazy guy in Jackson. Jackson's crazy, but he's really helpful. And he helps our original nurse escape for all of like 7 seconds before she's taken hostage by this crazy girl named Clarice and this crazy dude named Ike, who are like, I bet we'll escape further with a hostage in this car we stole. Also, they pick up my boy Bud.
Hop in, stupid.
They do not pick up this guy in a wheelchair because of prejudice. People in wheelchairs can be murderous monsters too. You've never even gave him a chance. Stick some knives on those wheels and he'll be out murdering you in no time. But the other reason they don't pick him up is because he's flat. They stop to change. Jackson and the nurse, named Lizzie, by the way, hop out of the trunk and again to free. For like 7 seconds. Then Ike threatens him with a good time.
I'll turn you into strawberry pie.
Poof, you're a pie.
And like, joke's on you, Ike. That sounds super delicious. That actually might convince me to become a self-cannibal. Oh God, is this where the seed was planted? The original Inception. Amazing. This movie's amazing. The one that becomes Leatherface is like, imagine if people tasted like strawberry pie. This is the beginning of A great awakening within me. Anyway, Ike is like, we're gonna run away to Mexico to play with hacksaws. And they're all like, oh, okay, well that actually makes sense, sounds good. Except presumably Lizzie, who would prefer to not do that. But hot on their tails is that original daddy cop who tells his deputy,
just because they're kids, I don't want your men going soft. They gotta shoot first and let God sort it out. Well, that's permissible.
and he's like, why are you telling me this? It's Texas. I know that's like a legal gray thing here. It's weird that you would explain that to me. This is bad exposition. Everybody watching this movie knows that it's fine for cops to shoot children. It's set in Texas.
I understand.
I don't think you do.
Kids.
But okay, now they're at a barbecue joint. And now they're killing everybody in the barbecue joint.
How's that barbecue? Not great.
And now they're driving away from the barbecue joint. And now the deputy is like,
They were them. No doubt about it.
oh, thanks, Texan Sherlock. What gave it away? Did you see some teenage juices on somebody's shoes? Do they only attack barbecue places?
Yep.
How did you piece this all together? The car immediately runs out of gas, so the children spend the night in a trailer occupied by only one dead guy, which Ike and Clarice literally have sex with. This is what they mean when you check the organ donor box, by the way. I know it's hard to hear, but it's true. It's why I checked and circled mine twice. But my penis is the organ. I don't care if I'm dead.
You're gonna aggravate you.
Anyway, as I always say to my butt before falling asleep,
Sleep tight, ass.
as if it could sleep any other way, am I right? That's the only way my butt knows how to sleep.
That's all I want.
During the night, Lizzie tries to escape because she's not very open-minded about people's sexual preferences, but is caught by Ike. And then Ike is caught by Jackson. And then Jackson is caught by Clarice.
What in holy hell's going on here?
And then Ike is caught again by Bud, who kills him. Because that boy, he'd been like a truck. And they really missed out by not casting a chonky golden retriever here. Could have made this a double prequel. Like, you know, if he's gonna be named Bud, might as well be an Air Bud.
And the dog has a little mask.
Anyway, Bud can't help himself. They say evil is stored in body mass, which is why I refuse to let Dave buff up. I'm literally saving lives by forcing Dave to maintain his twink physique.
My hunch is that this gentleman has gone from a twink to a twunk to a twank.
The next day, Jackson and Lizzie go looking for Bud because they actually think he's pretty cool, and Clarice goes looking for Ike because who else would have a dead man's threesome with her? That's kind of like their thing. Dave's not gonna be born for like 3 more years because Dave is like 70 years old.
Hit you with a hammer poorly if you say that again.
But Clarice is caught by the cops and smacked and then shot. But it doesn't stick, and then she shot again, and that one does stick. Again, it's a gray area in Texas whether this is an okay thing to do. Then the cops just shoot the empty trailer for kicks before looking for the rest of the teens, except I guess Lizzie, because I mean, is she an adult, right? Like she looks the same age as everybody else, but on the other hand was found by Lizzie and Jackson sleeping on top of Ike's dead body.
What do you do, big guy?
Because these crazy people, what are they using all these dead bodies for things? It's like, oh, there's a dead body. Maybe I can use it as a pillow. Maybe I can use it as a vibrator. They have so many inventive uses for dead bodies. These kids are so creative. Why are they locked up? Just because they're a little different?
Look, I made a table out of all these dead bodies.
Got a body. It's not one of them.
It's a fantastic table.
Now the cops are using dogs. So the movie wants me to believe that all 3 of these kids, one of whom is built like a friggin' truck, they tauntauned inside of a single dead cow. There is no way there's enough room in there, especially not without scooping out like 95% of its innards, which would be pretty conspicuous. You guys see this 3-foot mountain of cow innards sitting here next to this mostly empty, I think, corpse of a cow? Weird. Anyway, hey, where are them kids at? Lizzie sees another cop car and tries to flag it down, but the cop mostly just shoots Bud in the head and gets killed by Jackson, who, oh, that's right, he's crazy too. He's mostly come across as just a real nice guy. Doesn't even want to like be here doing this, Lizzie. I just wish we could be like normal, babe, you know? Like me, I'm a normal guy. We should just go on a date.
I wish this was just normal. I wish we were just 2 people here at a diner, you know.
You shove stuff in your mouth, and I'll shove stuff into my mouth.
But in this instance, he does seem like maybe he would not be fun to have on a date.
This has been so great.
Yeah, it really has.
Let's run away!
Swipe left, Lizzie. And they steal the cop car and immediately find themselves in a car chase, and Jackson gets shot pretty bad in the face. I like how sometimes you can get shot not too bad in the face.
Ooh, that's a bad one.
And then Lizzie gets pretty bad shot in the shoulder, so she flips the car. Lizzie wakes up, cuffed in the cop car, and manages to radio the deputy, and he's like,
Where you at, girl?
You up, girl? What you wearing right now, girl?
I don't know.
You about to get brutally executed by a cop, girl? And she's like, it's funny you should ask. I am near a barn, and also...
I'm on it.
Jackson is also tied up in the barn and twists Jed, not Husky Buddy, which adds up considering the whole Buddy is dead thing. You probably would have thought that because Leatherface has historically been a Husky Buddy, but as it turns out, Jackson just got really into Little Debbie products between the years of 1965 and 1973.
What are you doing to him?
It's Little Debbie. I'm Little Debbie.
And his twink body just really ballooned into an evil serial killer, massive, hulking man. Probably didn't help that he was eating a lot of human meat, and all this together explains why he's such a portly fella by the first movie.
I'm just a little widow girl, won't you just...
Anyway, the daddy cop obviously hates this dude for sort of helping him kill his daughter, but before he can really go to town on this kid, it turns out the deputy is a traitor and goes to tell Jed's family where he is. He is rewarded for this with cash. And by being eaten by Babe.
Goodbye.
You'd think that's a punishment, but the internet has revealed some people have real weird interests. I choose to believe that he died happy. Anyway, Mommy walks in with a chainsaw, and one of the other nebulous family members knock out the cop, and they rescue Jed, and they sew up his face real nice and throw a medical-grade horse bridle on to
hold it all together.
And as a doctor, I can assure you this is the best way to treat this particular injury. It also works great for when Dave has a soda after 6 p.m. and gets a little too rowdy.
Sorry.
The cop and Lizzie manage to escape from wherever they're held for, again, about 7 seconds. Until they're caught and the cop gets chainsawed by sweet, sweet Jed, who no longer shows hesitation, I guess. And then Lizzie escapes and runs around in the woods for a while until Jed hacks her head off.
Ooh, that's a bad one.
The next day, they get rid of the evidence.
Now for one last favor.
While Jed makes his first proper mask. There, are you happy? Now you know Leatherface's origin, maybe. Doesn't really explain much about why his family is insane and when they decide that they're gonna start eating human meat. So I guess it's just because they think the flavor's gonna be good. And again, these movies, they're making a great case for cannibalism. I mean, these people are risking their lives and health for human meat. And I don't think they'd be doing that if we tasted like chicken. Dave, go grab me a bread knife and just hike up your pant leg for a second. I just wanna kind of see, I just wanna try something.
Just a sliver.
Just a taste. Regardless, I really feel like I understand why a crazy psychopath as part of a crazy psychopathic family might eventually one day still be a crazy psychopath later. Wow, there's a real journey to get there. I love the implication that if he just stayed and been raised by his murderous cannibal family, that he would have become a lawyer, a pediatrician, or a YouTuber. All roads led to Jed being a psychopath, guys. Not sure why you felt the need to explain one particular path over another.
His origin was his birth.
Yeah. We could have just shown him being born, and then his mom goes home and eats like a sandwich full of human meat. And it's like, oh, there it is. Oh. Like, I guess they're sort of trying to imply that he became crazier in the insane asylum, but he didn't.
So we need an origin story on Mom.
Why is Mama so crazy? Mama, why you crazy, Mama?
What's wrong with the world, Mama?
They're trying to break our family apart.
Yeah. Why don't we try the story for a fourth time? Actually, I don't want to do that one. I don't want to do any of these anymore. There's no wheels?
Try anything and you're canceled, bro.
Hey, shortest one yet, all right.
For the next hour, we'll take you on a journey.
Hope is a good thing. Maybe the best of things.
Okay, so this time, just the first movie happened. Again.
One of Texas's most famous unsolved murders.
But that was, like when we first started recording this, 50 years ago. And I guess this gas station store owner is just a fan, based on all the paraphernalia he's selling. Yeah, a fan of the massacre, not the movie. To be clear, the massacre happened. There was no movie. He's just a fan of massacres, I guess. Do people sell a lot of merch of massacres?
I don't know, actually.
Feels like they would. I don't think you should buy those things. That's just my thought.
That's $18.99, unless I can interest you in a shirt or two.
This girl Lila here gets gas station shit at the gas station, and the owner's like, hey, did you know that Sally from the first movie, which again, not a movie, but like a real massacre, she became a ranger.
She must have looked for that maniac for more than 30, 40 years.
But hasn't found him yet, which is our first clue. Sally kind of sucks at her job. I feel like anything would be possible after 50 years. You could probably walk all of Texas in 50 years. It's also our first clue that this movie sucks at exposition.
He was wearing a mask.
His penis was of considerable size.
It turns out that her chef sister, Melody, along with other chef Dante and Dante's worthless non-chef fiance, Ruth, are headed to a Texan ghost town called Harlow.
Behold the joys of late-stage capitalism.
So beautiful. To essentially buy the whole thing up and transform it into kind of a Gen Z oasis with Minecraft on every corner and super woke shit like not eating people.
We're idealistic individuals who want to build a better world.
Gentrifiers.
Before they leave the gas station, though, Melody loudly claims this random dude has a small penis.
Who has such a small dick they need to walk around in public with a gun?
Oh, me.
And he's like, actually, this is for feral hogs. The gun, not his penis. I hope. This is Texas, though, and if Dave is any indication...
The only way to deal with an invasive species is to kill him.
That was the worst day of my life, was walking in on that. I just heard squealing and "That'll do, pig" over and over. I was like, oh, are you watching Babe? And then I opened the door. You weren't.
Sorry, big gun makes you uncomfortable.
But it turns out the reason Melody is so testy about the guns thing is because Lila survived a school shooting, which is very much a downer way to follow that last bit that we did. Well,
I feel sad now.
Anyway, they get to town and oh shit, the tiny dicked hog guy is their contractor or whatever. And oh no, the bus full of potential investors is coming soon. And there's a Confederate flag hanging outside this abandoned orphanage. And it's fun to see some sitcom hijinks in this franchise.
We have a bus full of potential investors on the way here. If they see this flag, they're not gonna buy.
Is Act 3 gonna be that Leatherface is constantly having to switch masks because he accidentally made 2 murder dates for the same night? Ugh, if Mrs. Doubtfire was a serial killer, it would be this movie. Anyway, better pull it down. Shit. Dante too weak, his arm too short. But maybe it's for the best, because a woman still lives here and claims that she still owns this place, and actually that flag is about heritage, not hate.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize.
Then she says something I have never heard Dave say.
I don't have a problem with Negroes.
She also has a huge baby.
Baby?
I've seen bigger.
Mama!
Dante gets upset and calls the cops, who instantly remove this lady without literally any proof that she's doing anything wrong. And this causes her to puke all over the place like she's chugged a bunch of milk.
Oh my God, so damn hot.
And so the cops have to rush her to the hospital, and Ruth goes with them because, I mean, well, that's the right thing to do, I guess. And then Huge Baby also comes because he loves his mama, or he wants to eat her if she croaks. Either one.
No.
The contractor, by the way, is very upset by this.
Here's your flag.
But like, does he know her? Isn't she the only person living in this town? Like, they're shocked to find her. Then Lila is like,
this place is cursed now.
everybody calm down. Literally all that's happened is you met a stranger and she puked. That happens every 5 seconds in a real bar. What is even going on? Why is everybody flipping out? Like, just stop doing random bullshit and take a minute.
I don't need this right now, so.
This town is cursed now. And it's like, what? How? In what sense is it cursed?
Right.
Like, you were mean to that lady and she threw up. That's how curses start.
Go to a Denny's at 2 in the morning, anywhere in America.
Lila's like, this Denny's is cursed!
What I saw at Denny's made me realize how much I have overestimated the American people.
I don't want to live here.
But of course, Mama takes that advice way too literally and dies in transit.
Stop, Mama!
And Big Baby stabs one of the cops with his own broken arm, which somehow causes him to accidentally shoot his fellow cop, who then crashes the van into some farm equipment. Ruth wakes up to see Big Baby sawing his mom's face off to make a mask, because that's how Texans honor their loved ones. Beautiful, complex culture. We have so much to learn from it. Ruth tries to hail somebody on the radio, but only the gas station dude appears to hear, but not answer. And all he does is call Sally, who is currently rearranging the guts of one of those big sexy hogs everyone's been talking about. And Sally's like, great, I'm not gonna call anyone else either, because I'm on the case. A la every legacy sequel of the last 10 years, from Terminator Dark Fate to the recent Halloween trilogy.
Happy Halloween, Michael.
But also, I won't be able to help Ruth specifically. Sorry, I'm just too far away. I don't want to call anyone because I kind of want the credit, but you understand, Ruth. This is largely, though, because Ruth is like, I gotta get out of this van, but oh God, I can't unlock the door, even though I can literally see the manual door lock right there. But no, how about instead you crawl over the dead cop to climb through his broken window? Choke, stab, Gen Z, man.
What the f?
Then Leatherface wanders off, but like, they got pretty far out of town. Isn't it gonna take him forever to get back? He's a senior citizen, not exactly fleet of foot. If you thought the guy was old in 3D back in 2012, how old is he now, right? It's 50 years. Like, if he was a baby in the first movie, he's a 50-year-old man.
There's no magic in this series, right? It's just
no. No, yeah, he's not like being resurrected from the bottom of lakes or just like appearing.
He's just old.
It's a man who is a cannibal and kills people and ages, I assume.
Maybe that's a good diet.
Back at Gentry City Z, Melody and Dante auction off buildings, I think.
Well, this was built in 1910.
Sold. While Lila confusingly tries to call out the contractor.
Why are you such a nihilist? I mean, anyone who blasts diesel into the atmosphere like that truly gives zero f***s.
And also be like, that's a really cool rifle. I was shot by one of these once. And he's like,
That must be tough.
But secretly, you know, he's also like, hell yeah, America rules. So glad we have these. Wait, is something going on between these two?
You think I f***ed him?
I mean, I don't know. He's got such strong Texan arms and a big gun and a really nice mattress at the top of his garage. I mean, you could do worse, much worse. Dave is from Texas. His tiny little arms. His sleeping bag that he sleeps in his cage, not comfy. And he has sex with hogs.
Just gonna throw that one in there.
That's the least bad, but still bad.
Sorry.
But Melody can't focus because she's like, what if that woman did own the orphanage or whatever and still has the deed to it? And then she died because that's what happens whenever people have land disputes. They just instantly die. See American history. That's kind of what happens.
We just killed her.
And I feel like the bank definitely would have checked that. Oh, dang it. Anyway, Dante, can you prove that you have the deed?
Then where is it?
Man, if I know.
Obviously he can't, so they go back into the house to find, oh, yeah, she
Did the deed.
Oh.
They basically murdered her. They're the real sickos, I guess. They're constantly like, we killed her by disputing ownership of this property that we thought we bought. She died because of us. It's like if you go to Arby's and you order a beef and cheddar and they give you the wrong one and then you just die. They're like, here's your burger. I didn't order a burger. We can settle this. You don't have to die over it.
Wait, can you just relax for a second?
I'll never relax.
Thankfully, the always reasonable Leatherface is maybe magically, but somehow already back in town after maybe, I don't know, maybe did he inflate 12,000 balloons with his mom's oxygen tank and then float here? I don't know, but he exacts revenge upon Dante's neck and face area. Melody hides in a closet while Leatherface grabs and sniffs his mom's dress, another Texan tradition. And I didn't know that until I saw, again, Dave doing. Dave has taught me so much about his culture. And really, it's amazing how many of those things appear in this film series. I was like, I don't know, Dave, it's weird that you smell your mom's dress. And it's like, oh, no, it's in the movie. He's like sawing his mom's face off. I was like, that seems icky. And he's like, it's part of my culture. Shows me this movie and I'm like, well, it's called Texas. So, I mean, outside, a storm is a-coming. So all the savvy investors climb back on the party investor bus. Then Melody hides under the bed while Leatherface smashes open a wall to reveal a chainsaw. What are you, the John Wick of slashers?
The f***ing boogeyman.
Why in the world would you need to hide that in a wall? Unless they're worried it's evidence of the original murders. But even in that instance, could you not have disposed of the chainsaw in some way at any point over the last 50 years? Again, I firmly believe that anything is possible over 50 years. I bet if you tried, you could have eaten that thing tiny piece by tiny piece. No work ethic whatsoever. And furthermore, that shit starts right up, but gas doesn't just work forever. It actually causes massive damage to your equipment after just a couple of months. I mean, the half-life is a real thing. It's gonna degrade. They hid this shit behind a wall. It's been more than a couple of months. It's probably been 50 years. Chainsaw Facts! This has been Chainsaw Facts with Dr. Jordan Breeding. I'll see you next week with A Real Hammerhead explains why bonking people on the head won't just cause them to see little birds flying around. We're gonna make a hard pivot on this channel. It's gonna be me talking about tools. Which is good because I'm about as handy as they come.
You're on a tractor.
They don't just let anybody on a tractor. Only us hammerheads and chainsaw experts. Chainsaw Fact! Oh hey, Dante's not full dead, so he wanders outside to die there. Glad he got to see the rain one last time. Feel the rain on your skin. And And the contractor is like, well, that sucks. Let me grab exclusively my pistol, even though we've already shown that I own a rifle of some kind. And by the way,
Keep everyone on the bus.
and stay put. Don't drive away. I need witnesses for my cool trick shooting that I'm gonna do.
Go on then.
The contractor enters and holds his own actually pretty well against Leatherface's old man strength. Oh, never mind. But at least as he bleeds out in front of Melody, he gives her keys back. So that's kind of him. He took her keys as punishment for killing the old lady. I don't know if I mentioned that. Everybody in the town is like, I'm taking your keys, you can't leave. What? Oh, I guess I just have to accept that. That's Texas justice for you. Yeah.
Heard you kill that lady.
But as he dies, he gives it back. He's like, maybe I was being too harsh. Turns out that lady's kid is a real piece of work. Actually, I guess he's wearing his mom's face at that point. Maybe he thought it was the mom. You have gotten very large. Also, if he's 70 or 80, is this woman supposed to be 100 years old?
You got me all wrong.
She didn't look 100 years old, but if canonically she's supposed to be, then like, I can see how literally anything would make her instantly die.
Right.
You watch your mouth, boy.
Anyway, Sally eventually comes upon the van wreck, though I'm not entirely sure how she's gonna trace that back to the ghost town where literally nobody lives specifically, but I'm sure she'll just sort of intuit it with her 50 years of not catching anything experience. Okay, so Melody sees an opening and awkwardly kind of climbs down the banister to, I think, be seen, but it doesn't work. And, crap. Guess I was wrong about the hammers. Video idea scrapped. You'd better support me on Patreon because I spent 3 years on that video and now we're screwed, Dave. Oh my God. The thing we've been filming for 3 years, totally negated. She totally did have Tweety birds going around her head when she got hit with that hammer. This was gonna be our big break, Dave. Oh my God. Melody is somehow smashed into like the subfloor or whatever, and she crawls around, but let me just say it, Leatherface now apparently legally owns this building, and somebody needs to warn him that he is really damaging the resale value by sawing through the floor and the sewage pipes. There's literally a bus of people outside willing to make you a sweet crypto offer. Do you have any idea how many feet pics and or meth I could buy you? No, sorry, now they're all broke. Oh, no, wait, no, now they're filthy rich. Ah, they're broke again.
Fortune favors.
No.
But Lila gets off the bus, manages to rescue Melody, and then they both get back on the bus, but then the driver silently, without a word, gets off the bus.
Don't open the... Dude, where are you going?
And is instantly killed.
I don't know what I expected.
And I am noticing a disturbing lack of pattern here. Like sometimes getting off the bus is good, but sometimes it's bad. This movie is confusing. To make it even more confusing, then Leatherface gets on the bus and this guy is like,
Try anything and you're canceled, bro.
Hey, can we please just cancel this bit? I paused the video, I called the actor. Stop it. I have every actor's number. It's a thing. When you hit 30,000 subscribers, they just give you everybody's number.
You get the list?
Yeah, you get the list. But as you might expect, Leatherface does not stop. And instead, he kills basically everybody, completely destroying the resale value of this bus. He is not thinking long term. Ugh. I will say though, this 50-year-old wall saw is just getting the job done.
Homelight has a reputation to protect, and we're not about to let a saw out that can't stand up.
You would think just the sheer number of bodies would slow it down or make it like duller. But no.
Who makes this saw?
Yeah, honestly, we should get them as a sponsor because I'm impressed. 50 years, not using it, been in a wall, spin that thing right up, you kill like 20, 30 Gen Z investors. He didn't sharpen it, he just ran out there. He didn't even check to see if it had gas.
Oh, that's pretty good, actually.
Anyway, the sisters managed to escape out a bathroom sunroof, which, no, Dave, is not a euphemism for a butthole. Nobody calls it a bathroom sunroof. You idiot.
Sorry.
And then Sally finally shows up and is like, hop in my car, we've got to escape. I'm just kidding.
You need to stay till I kill him.
There was some
See ya. No. Sally, come on. That's a real dick move. Either let them go or help them escape. Why would you lock them in your car? Are you working with Leatherface? Or has your brain completely melted over the past 50 years? At least crank up the AC and give them a bowl of water. Play them some tunes. They're gonna get so bored if nothing else. Sally finds Leatherface just chilling, and instead of shooting him 57 times, she's like,
You don't remember me.
and he clearly doesn't, probably because he's like 80.
I don't think about you at all.
So she's sort of sadly like, oh, well, I guess I'm gonna let you go attack the car because I'm sad. This is not getting as much revenge as I wanted. And I will say that Sally is definitely the worst legacy sequel heroine ever put to digital. And I guess it doesn't help that the actual Sally actress died 10 years ago of unknown, but hopefully non-Chainsaw related reasons. So they recast her with an Irish lady with the Lord of the Rings ass name, Olwen. I mean, holy shit. This really is a Leprechaun sequel. It's about a small Irish person making a terrible movie. So that's really all that's required to call it a Leprechaun sequel.
The wee people have their magical ways.
But okay, she finally gives the girls the key to her car, except she's immediately rushed by Leatherface, who chainsaws her because fake Sally, she truly ain't shit. So glad we took time to set up this epic, not actual reunion. But also the girls aren't so great themselves and they try to run Leatherface over, but they mostly just crash. And then Melody gets stuck in her leg, and even though she tells Lila to run, Lila, being Gen Z, instead yells, "Hey, which is, let's just say, cringe. Like, she has no riz whatsoever. And when she tries to be like, Slay, I've got a rifle, it turns out it's not even loaded.
That yacht's drippier than Lunchley cheese.
This next generation is not bussin'. No cap. Dave, it is not demure in the slightest. They're cap. They are, it doesn't matter.
I'm just a skibbity farmer from Talk to a Ween.
Sally still has a little juice in her because, God, these boomers refuse to retire and make way for the next generation, even after I chainsaw them. Every time I'm trying to chainsaw a CEO to let me take his job, he will not die. Anyway, she pops leather from her perch in a nearby trash heap, presumably made out of all the screenplays for this franchise. She then gives Lila her shotgun and is like, "Don't run, you'll never stop haunting you." I mean, maybe. As far as we know, nobody at all has been hurt by him in the past 50 years, which, again, is this dude friggin' 80 years old? I guess age is just a number in Texas. You gotta kill him, 80-pound, 18-year-old, or he'll haunt you. Maybe. He is going to die at any minute.
Right, I know. Like,
he's so old.
Walk slowly that way.
Yeah. This girl is an actual survivor of a mass shooting. She, more than anybody, should know that good guy with a gun is bullshit. It's run unless you can't, then hide unless you can't. Then you can grab an assault rifle and hunt the killer one-on-one like you're the goddamn predator. Run! Anyway, that's sad to think about. So instead, here she is getting distracted by a chainsaw on the floor and based on their size differential alone, that should kill her. I mean, professional strong boy NFL players and Bryce Young have their entire body broken every 5 seconds when they're hit by men like this. This girl would just dissipate into a puff of red mist. But no, somehow she comes out of the puddle a few seconds later, no worse for the wear, and then he literally flies out of the puddle and sort of rolls his chainsaw at her like a bowling ball. And then Melody, who I guess pulled the shit out of her leg, jumps on his back. And then Lila picks up the shotgun and shoots him twice before Melody chainsaws his face. And he falls into the water. And he seems dead, but unless they're spreading his brains on avocado toast, I just don't trust it. This is the second, at least the second one where they chainsaw him into the water though, and he's under there for like 3 days, and then he's like, oh! Good thing I've been training for this. Michael Phelps is under the mask.
I saw a guy who had spent 5 consecutive years in a pool.
I've literally made a boatload of mistakes.
And indeed, they hop in the car and are like, yay, let's go home. Oh, God! And look, Lila would help, but Melody's head is already popped off and the car is on autopilot and there's like no way to turn that off because it's the only thing with any survival instincts in this movie. So I guess that's the end of the movie. Bye! You're gonna be haunted forever, I suppose, or at least 5 more years until he dies because there's a post-credit scene where he goes home to, again, I would assume die because depending on what timeline we're going with, wasn't he born in like 1939? I mean, he's easily in his Hades. Just let him die already, for the love of God. And oh, actually, it's important to note that there is one more sequel to this movie. It's a pinball table. Clearly, the series is as vibrant as ever.
This is the last known image of the man they called Dr. Jordan Breeding. Evidence of a man named Leatherface was never found, and the case officially remains open.